In the blink of an eye, Sakazuki didn't dodge, letting the Shinigami scythe run across his body. Sakazuki's body splits in two. When the upper body and lower body are separated, dark red magma can be seen. At this time, Fei Noel's eyes widened. He had fought against Logia demon fruit power in the past. Those idiots thought they were invincible because of Logia. And he used the sickle wrapped around armament hockey to easily pick out their intestines. But why didn't Sakazuki bleed? At this time, half of Sakazuki's body flew in the air, and his left and right hands ejected magma claws. The gray-black magma claw blasted towards Fei Noel's face, and towards Pa in the distance. Sakazuki already knew that it was Pa's who used the ability, and temporarily trapped him. All this happens in an instant. Pa's reaction was not slow, and he immediately hid in the distance. Fei Noel tilted his head, but his right cheek was still scratched by the magma claws, almost losing half of his face. Although Doran's reward is lower, there are still 860 million Baileys. However, the 5 people joined forces to besiege, and 2 people were almost killed. Fortunately, their response was fast enough and cautious enough. At this time, the magma merged in one place and reunited into a human form. Sakazuki looked at the people around him indifferently, then he hooked his hands towards the people around him, signaling them to continue. This is definitely a provocative gesture. Don't pay attention to Fei Noel and others at all. At the same time, the battle between Victor and the Golden Lion has officially begun. Golden Lion is indeed very strong, definitely stronger than Redfield. At this moment, Golden Lion floated up. Golden Lion himself is a lion fruit capable person, and air combat is definitely beneficial to him. Seeing this, Victor also climbed into the sky on moonwalk. However, the Golden Lion continuously chopped out sword energy in the air. Shish, sword chi passed by Victor's side. If Victor hadn't been fast enough to dodge in time, he would have been cut into many pieces by now. Can I escape this time? Golden Lion grinned grinningly, then swooped down from the air. His face was arrogant and mighty, and the dead wood and sakura in his hand slashed at Victor fiercely. Victor had just dodged the sword aura, but now it was impossible for him to dodge again. Then block it. Victor raised his arms, wrapping them around armament hockey. 2 swords slashed on Victor's arms. Kahahaha. Then come and try. Victor and Golden Lion fell directly to the ground from a high altitude. Boom. With a loud bang, the entire island was shaken, and at the same time, it raised dust all over the sky. The dust and mist dissipated, only to see a large pit with a diameter of hundreds of meters. The pit is 100 meters deep. With the big pit as the center, cracks appeared in the surrounding strata, and the cracks spread out in all directions, as if telling everyone how much damage it had just suffered, and it was already on the verge of collapse. Kahahaha, Golden Lion grinned grinningly, looked at Victor. You are stronger than Kuang. Stronger than you. Victor just finished speaking. I saw the surrounding soil layers, rock layers, trees in the distance, etc., all floating up. Young man, I admit that you are a strong man, but you lack respect for my strength. Lion Majesty. Earth coiling. Before Golden Lion finished speaking, he used Lion Fruit's ability to lift up the entire ground, turning into multiple lion head-shaped dirt hills, and rolled towards Victor. It's up to me to tell you that. Victor snorted coldly, and then punched hard at a lion head-shaped dirt hill. Boom. The lion's head-shaped earth mountain, hundreds of meters high, was blown up by Victor's punch. The moment the earth, rocks and trees exploded, all marines and pirates on the island suffered. When gods fight, mortals suffer. Although Victor and Golden Lion didn't do it deliberately, the marines and pirates in the distance didn't watch the battle either. However, they are all in a battle zone. Monsters like Victor and Golden Lion don't just fight over the entire island. Even the warships and pirate ships in the distance are not spared. I don't know who is stronger between you and Garp's fist. When Victor shattered the last lion's head mound, the Golden Lion was already in the air. The earth mountain shattered by Victor, as well as a larger piece of earth and rock, condensed in the air again. The scary thing about Golden Lion lies in his ability. As long as Golden Lion still has physical strength, he can use his abilities indefinitely. It seems that you want to waste your energy with me. Victor saw what the Golden Lion was up to. After speaking, Victor's body has undergone tremendous changes. In front of the golden lion, Victor transformed into a 30-meter tall titan. It has become so big, do you want to be a target? Golden Lion and Sengoku have also fought against each other many times, and he knows the power of you demons, but he is not afraid at all. His sword skills, paired with his lion fruit's abilities, keep him invincible. You're really long-winded. In Titan form, Victor has a blue and white tattoo of lightning emerging from his body. Afterwards, black clouds filled the sky, thunder roared in the clouds, and electric snakes moved, making people panic, as if a world-destructive energy was condensing. Suddenly, a branch-shaped white lightning pierced the sky, fell suddenly, and slashed directly at Victor. Victor's face was calm, and under the gaze of Golden Lion, he grasped the thunder with his right hand. Afterwards, the lightning condensed into a lightning spear. Zzz, the thunder spear made a deafening hum. God's punishment. Victor hurls the thunder spear straight into the air. The nearly 50-meter-long thunder spear shot towards the Golden Lion with a terrifying momentum. Golden Lion's eyes froze, and then he dodged sideways. However, after Stormpike flew past Golden Lion, it turned around and flew back. Golden Lion no longer dodged, but faced the thunder spear head-on, and slashed down fiercely with his sword. 10 cuts of Sakura with armament hockey entwined on the thunder spear. Not as expected, cut it off. Instead, the moment the blade touched the thunder spear exploded. The violent lightning energy exploded, and the Golden Lion was blown away by the shockwave generated by the explosion. Although Golden Lion adjusted quickly, his hair and clothes were scorched. Is this your ability? Golden Lion stared at Victor, the first time he encountered such a strange ability. This is theocracy, the power of God. Victor couldn't hide the pride in his eyes, and replied. Titans, as a family of gods, have godheads and master theocracy. The divine right gave them the ability to control the elements. Metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, thunder, light, darkness, etc. As long as it is an element of the world, they can control it. Phantom beasts always have some strange abilities. Golden Lion snorted coldly. He knew that Kaido also got the form of Yu fruit, phantasmal beast, and azure dragon. From then on, he can transform into a dragon, use heat, breathe wind blades, and control lightning. In addition to the ability to manipulate elements, what is even more troublesome is that the phantom beast species can enhance the host's physique, giving the host a terrible recovery ability. Originally, Golden Lion wanted to use Lion Fruit's ability to directly consume Victor to death. However, now Golden Lion must change its tactics. Among the powerhouses of their level, there are 2 types of battles. One is desperate, and the other is just enough. The former is no winner, never give up. The other is to stop as soon as you enjoy yourself. For example, Roger encountered Whitebeard, Garp and others. The 2 sides played to their heart's content, then stopped in a tacit understanding, and then retreated separately. I saw Golden Lion open his arms. At the same time, under his control, the surrounding earth hills, boulders, etc. also floated in the air, and condensed into a super-huge lion at a height of 1,000 meters. This supergiant lion is hundreds of meters tall, several kilometers long, and weighs more than hundreds of billions of tons. If this super-huge lion falls, it will sink the whole island. Lion Majesty. Govern place earth coiling. The lion head opened its mouth and slammed at Victor. Run. Boss is on top. Some pirates of the Flying Pirates ran in all directions. Golden Lion is moody. As long as he is angry, he will kill people indiscriminately. In the eyes of the Golden Lion, the lives of his subordinates are insignificant. It's too late. How can this escape? It's over, we will be killed too. In the Flying Pirates group, some pirates looked at the sky desperately. That super-huge lion will destroy everything. The whole island will be sunk. An air of desperation begins to creep in, and even Marine feels it. Be it mentally or physically, the huge lion on the top of the head is really ridiculously big. However, at this moment, Victor's body emitted a dazzling golden light. It's like a god's mansion descending, and it's as bright as the sun. When the gigantic lion fell, Victor's eyes glowed coldly, and he stood there, motionless. Do you want to carry it on your own? What a lunatic. Golden Lion grinned grinningly. The moment Victor's hands touched the gigantic lion, the armament haki all over his body penetrated into it. At the same time, the golden light shone around, making it almost impossible for people around to open their eyes, and at the same time dispelling the darkness. It was the first time for Ghost Spider, Dogman and others to see Victor's abilities. However, they consider Sengoku to be of the same type. Rumble rumble, under the pressure of hundreds of billions of tons, the ground under Victor's feet collapsed in a large area. Slices of rock layers grow at a speed visible to the naked eye, from cracks to complete collapse, just in a breath. The whole island is collapsing. However, the Golden Lion is no longer in control of the lions. Because he found an opportunity. I saw the Golden Lion holding the swords in both hands, and armament haki was constantly infused on the two swords. The two swords were as black as ink, and even appeared to be bright. The black knife is not forged, but forged by swordsmen after countless battles. Any sword can become a black knife. As a man standing at the pinnacle of combat power in the world, Golden Lion's twin swords are no exception. The so-called black knife means that after the sword is infused with armament haki for a long time, the blade turns black and becomes tougher and sharper. It will even improve the quality of the sword. Ryoma's black sword Chusui and Hawkeye's black sword are made in this way. Master Victor, Senior, Wright, Connor, Eric and others exclaimed. Victor even lifted the lion up with his own strength, preventing him from falling directly. Titan Nova. However, Victor didn't hear their cries and continued to drive his armament haki into the lion. This is a fatal blow that gathers the strength of the whole body and haki. It has the power to destroy the world. It is like a supernova explosion and belongs to a large-scale destruction move. A large number of cracks appeared on the surface of the lion. Boom. Accompanied by a bang, the lion's watch case was like a broken eggshell, and countless golden lights appeared from the cracks. Under the golden light, the lion was smashed into gravel and dust. The center of the body of the several-kilometer-long lion began to melt. At the same time, golden light covered the sky, dyeing the sky golden, bringing hope to everyone. Don't die. However, Golden Lion has already completed charging in the air. A cold light flashed in Golden Lion's eyes, a cruel smile rose from the corner of his mouth, and he swooped down. His double sword slashed forward, starting from the tail of the lion, and the back half of the lion's body was cut open. The sword energy penetrated the entire lion and attacked Victor. Victor raised his arm and wrapped it around armament haki's right arm, blocking the sneak attack of the sword energy. It's just that it's not over yet. Under the horrified eyes of the pirate and marine, the Golden Lion rushed out from the lion, and slashed at Victor fiercely with his sword. Victor could only raise his right arm to resist. Golden Lion has taken the lead, and Victor can only be reached passively at present. The armament haki covered on Victor's arm, like a steel plate, collided violently with the armament haki on the Golden Lion sword. Zzz. Armament haki rubbed violently. Not only did it make a harsh friction sound like sharp metal scraping on a steel plate. At the same time, a lot of sparks were splashed out. Both marine and pirates, who were still fighting not long ago, stopped instinctively. They opened their mouths wide, watching this shocking scene. However, this blow is just the beginning. Golden Lion swung his sword even faster. Before the cold light shone on Victor's face, the blade had already slashed across his chest. A splash of blood shot out. Victor was expressionless. Die. Golden Lion grinned grimly. No matter how strong Victor is, he has already consumed a lot of haki. Now Victor can only partially defend. If armament haki is covered all over the body, it will consume even more to Victor. Another sword slashed across Victor's abdomen, and blood spurted out. Victor didn't dodge or dodge. Is it too late to dodge? Ghost Spider, Dogman and the others thought to themselves. However, it is normal to be unable to dodge. Victor consumed so much haki just now, he should be exhausted. And the strength of Golden Lion is so strong that it is suffocating. The Ghost Spider and Dogman believed that they would not be able to block even a single move in a head-to-head confrontation with Golden Lion. Sakazuki glanced secretly, then turned his attention to Angie and the others. He believes Victor can solve the Golden Lion. When they went to school together, Victor always succeeded in what he had to do. This time is no exception. In less than a second, Victor's body had been chopped open several times, and blood spattered several meters high. Even if there are phantom beasts, it's too much. It took too much energy to crush that lion just now. If it wasn't for protecting us. At this time, the eyes of Wright, Connor and others were covered with tears, and they all thought that Victor was fighting for them. 6 forms A8 inner gates. A Hugh gates open. Hugh, open the door. The reason why Victor didn't dodge was not because he was exhausted, but because he was luring the enemy. He wants the Golden Lion to appear before him. Show yourself off and catch the Golden Lion. At this moment, Victor had already adjusted his breathing, and opened the Hugh door with the return of his life. By opening the door, you can release the restriction of physical fatigue, and overload the body to restore physical strength. Just now Victor dared to release so many haki because he had a way to recover his physical strength. At this moment, Victor's physical strength recovered quickly, and a sneer appeared on the corner of his mouth, with murderous intent in his eyes. Just as Golden Lion was about to continue slashing with his sword, he realized something was wrong. However, it was too late. Titan burst. Victor punched Golden Lion in the chest as the Golden Lion struck him again. This punch is so powerful that it can turn the earth over. Boom. This punch was deeply embedded in Golden Lion's body. Golden Lion's chest was about to collapse, his upper body was deformed, and he was blasted thousands of meters away. Bang 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 bang. Golden Lion's body shattered dozens of peaks in succession before barely coming to a stop. Poochie. Golden Lion's throat sweetened, and he spit out a mouthful of blood. Victor's fist hit him hard. Armament haki penetrated his chest, destroying his heart and lungs. The blow was too sudden. Victor caught the Golden Lion off guard with an injury-for-injury approach. At this time, Victor had already chased him, and he jumped up, with blue tattoos on his body. Manipulating the wind element allows the Titan to also have the ability to fly. Boom. Victor's heavy punch landed on the mountain wall where the Golden Lion was located. Golden Lion raised his double swords and stood in front of him. The heavy punch shattered the mountain wall, and the mountain wall buried the Golden Lion. However, how could Golden Lion be defeated so easily? That is a ruthless man who can break his own legs and escape from impelled down by force. Hearing Golden Lion's low growl of "ah," a terrifying armament haki erupted from his body. The mountain wall pressing on Golden Lion was instantly blown away by armament haki. You guys are really tough. However, the more this is the case, the more I can demonstrate my strength. Golden Lion, let me step on you and ascend to Admiral's position, Victor said, raising his fist again and blasting out. The horn of the Titans. Victor's fist shone with a dazzling golden light. Accompanied by a loud roar, a golden shockwave swept in like a tidal wave. Golden Lion raised his double swords to resist. Wow! The Golden Lion's feet slid on the ground, forcibly plowing 2 deep furrows. The area where the Golden Lion passed was swept by a golden shockwave. After the rock was crushed, it turned into dust and dissipated in the air. Puff. Golden Lion vomited blood again. He underestimated Victor's awareness and combat experience. Unexpectedly, Victor is even more sinister than Akainu. Seeing Victor pounced again, Golden Lion didn't choose to head on, but flew into the air. The air is his home field. He is the king of air combat. Moonwalk a Fengyunwan. Victor stepped on the wind, quickly flew into the air, and continued to chase the Golden Lion. At this time, Golden Lion came to an altitude of 10,000 meters. Suddenly, Golden Lion turned and swooped. Victor was not surprised when he saw the Golden Lion swooping down. The Golden Lion's life was ruined by Roger. If it wasn't for Roger, it wouldn't have lost half the fleet. If it wasn't for saving Roger, he wouldn't have gone to Marineford alone. He obviously had a chance to escape, but he spent the end with Sengoku and Garp. The current Golden Lion is in an IQ online state. He knows that air combat is his advantage, and he also knows that he is injured now. It is not easy to defeat Victor, and he can only consume it through air combat. A sharp light flashed in Victor's eyes, and immediately, his armament haki covered his whole body, as if he was wearing a set of black armor. Why does he still have so many haki? Golden Lion was also surprised. Victor is still in the form of a titan, which is a titan as high as 30 meters. How much is the consumption of armament haki to cover the whole body with armament haki? Wouldn't his physical strength be exhausted? Golden Lion didn't understand Victor's physical skills, let alone the special features of Schumann. In the state of opening the door, by increasing the load on the body, in exchange for unlimited physical strength. Of course, the premise of unlimited physical strength is that the body can withstand overload. Titans are gods in mythology, their bodies can naturally carry them. Lion's Thousand Slice Valley. Golden Lion slashed continuously, and the sword waves slashed towards Victor below. Victor did not dodge, but chose to carry it hard. Blood rush. However, although injured, the distance with Golden Lion has been shortened. At this time, the blue and white lightning tattoo lit up on Victor's body again. Titan Stab. A blue-white thunderlight wrapped around Victor's fingers. Immediately, Victor shot out the finger pistol continuously, and a blue-white lightning concentrated on one point and shot at the Golden Lion. The Golden Lion's body was pierced by lightning in many places. The two got closer and exchanged injuries again in the process. Victor is not afraid to change injuries. The more he changes, the more he earns. Phantom beasts have inherent advantages in resisting beatings. Finally, the Golden Lion came behind Victor as he wished, and before Victor could turn around, he swung his swords faster and slashed out. A gash was cut all the way down Victor's neck. Blood was floating in the air, turning into a rain of blood. Titan is the target in the air. Golden Lion mocked Victor's clumsiness to himself. Unexpectedly, Victor grabbed the void with his left hand, and immediately set off a blue gust of wind. As a lion fruit-capable user, Golden Lion can float its body and fly fast, but flying objects will be affected by the wind. Golden Lion is no exception. At this time, the cyan gust made Golden Lion temporarily lose its balance. Victor took the opportunity to adjust, and he turned around, punching hard with both fists. An iron fist versus two swords, the sword of one side can split the sea, and the fist of the other side can shatter the earth. Bang bang bang. Victor threw several heavy punches in one breath. The heavy punches landed firmly on Golden Lion. As the two staggered past, Golden Lion gritted his teeth, blood spilled from the corner of his mouth, but he only had killing intent in his eyes. He swung his sword with his right hand, and slashed at Victor viciously. Arm. Victor didn't panic either. He covered his right arm with armed color reinforcement, and the front was tough. This is too scary. Master Victor is actually so strong. Master Victor. Master Victor, come on. The sailors below the island completely became spectators, and they cheered for Victor with the loudest voices. However, at this moment, Victor and Golden Lion didn't care to listen to the noisy sound below. Whether it's Victor or Golden Lion, they have to go all out to defeat their opponents. This is the world of the strong. Any behavior that underestimates the enemy will foreshadow your own failure. Victor and Golden Lion fought from the ground to the sky, and from the sky to the ground. The injuries to both men continued to mount. On the other hand, Sakazuki faced the siege of the cadres of the flying pirates, and more wounds on his body. Fortunately, Marine has boosted the morale of the whole army because of Victor's desperate fight. Now Marine has begun to suppress the flying pirates in terms of morale. In the past, the pirates of the air pirates believed that the Golden Lion was invincible. However, it was the first time they saw Golden Lion suffer such serious injuries. Boy, I really underestimated you. But, don't think that you were guaranteed to win. Golden Lion had to admit that Victor was stronger than he imagined. I said I would use you as a stepping stone to the position of Admiral. After Victor finished speaking, he raised his arm, and his right fist burst into dazzling golden light. Die. The Golden Lion gritted his teeth and swung the famous sword in both hands. The Golden Lion has galloped on the sea for many years and has experienced countless fierce battles. Now that it is going to fight for its life, there is no reason to keep it. Golden Lion slashed the pair of swords towards the golden fist wave. Immediately, Quan Bo collided with Jhin Bo. With a bang, the resulting explosion sent up smoke and dust all over the sky. Victor didn't move, and the Golden Lion retreated nearly 100 meters before barely stopping. He was injured and couldn't play his full strength. The damage to the lung lobes made every breath painful. If it were an ordinary person, it would be difficult to breathe by now, and they would die without a fight. Only monster-level powerhouses can hold on until now. The lion stared at Victor viciously. Your strength is not inferior to Garp. Don't compare me with anyone, I'm better than them all. After Victor finished speaking with a blank face, he stomped hard. The 30-meter-high titan unexpectedly came to the Golden Lion with a razor. I'm going to be above all of you. Victor appeared in front of Golden Lion. When he spoke, he kicked out his right foot, like an axe, and slammed it hard. At the same time, Marineford, Naval Headquarters. Sora, Sengoku and others are all in the office. They have received the news that Victor led the Marine of the G1 branch to attack the Golden Lion. He didn't report to the headquarters, but started to act directly. Victor's unauthorized actions shocked the Marine executives. Moreover, the person who participated in this operation was even Sakazuki. Sakazuki has always been taciturn and obeys orders, which has gained the appreciation of Sengoku and others. Not long ago, at the behest of the 5 elders, Sakazuki got lava fruit and Peluzalino got sparkling fruit. I don't know how the battle is going. Even if the G5 branch goes to support it, it's too late. Sengoku walked back and forth in the combat conference room. So far, he only knows that the two sides are at war, but he doesn't know the situation of the battle. Garp was eating senbei. He said with a smile, "Don't worry. Victor and Peluzalino are both very good. Although Victor is a bit extreme, his strength is still very strong. Victor is a born monster. His strength and fighting talent seem to be innate." Hearing this, Sengoku replied solemnly, "I hope so. Can the G1 branch alone really defeat the flying pirates?" Before Sengoku knew it, the fight had been going on for almost 3 hours. The sea was littered with dead bodies, as well as wrecks of ships. The originally golden beach is now stained red with blood. At this time, Victor had already lifted his life return, and the constant fighting increased the load on his body. If he continues to maintain the state of opening the door, his body will not be able to withstand the consumption before the Golden Lion falls. On the other hand, Golden Lion, his hands holding the double swords were trembling, and blood dripped down the hilts and along the blades. Not only that, but his clothes had been dyed red. Victor's armament hockey damaged him from the inside and now he's bleeding from every pore. With the loss of blood, the loss of strength is also accelerating. You can't hold it anymore. Victor stopped attacking, but took out a pack of cigarettes from his trouser pocket. The casing of the cigarette had been softened by blood and sweat. Victor lit a cigarette and smoked it with a look of enjoyment. However, the moment he lit the cigarette, there was a murderous aura. Boom. The moment Victor turned his head away, there was a loud bang. A man is seen being pushed into the formation by Victor. A man's head is like a smashed watermelon. Brains, blood, yellow, white, red. A brutal scene, disgusting. I just lit a cigarette. Victor raised his hand calmly and continued to smoke. The man who was just killed in seconds, the flying pirates are the captain of the number 26 ship. He is good at assassination and sneak attack. As a result, he failed. I'll smash your head off. At this moment, a man holding an iron chain with a black iron ball hanging on it came over. It seems that my subordinates still have no way to stop you. Victor looked at the man in front of him, then tilted his head and looked into the distance. The battle situation is still stalemate, and people fall from time to time. The clothes on Akainu, Ghost Spider, Dogman and others have been stained red with blood, and the word, justice, on their backs seems to be more deterrent after being dyed red. Vidova, the captain of ship number 11, has a reward of 521 million berries. Vidova was born in North Blue and came to New World 5 years ago. He voluntarily joined the air pirates and believed that Golden Lion could become the king of the world. Vidova, his head is mine. Don't try to argue with me, Prawl. At this time, 2 more men appeared. A man holds 2 pistols in both hands and a machete on his back. Another man carried a field sword dripping blood on his shoulder. Prawl, the captain of ship number 9, has a reward of 540 million Baileys. Cook, the captain of the 13th ship, was offered a reward of 450 million Baileys. The three of them saw that Golden Lion was injured and Victor showed an exhausted look, so they wanted to come and claim credit. One is to help the Golden Lion, and the other is to kill Victor, and their names will spread throughout the world. You can go together. Anyway, killing one by one, or killing three together, it doesn't make any difference to me. Victor replied, with a bloody cigarette between his fingers. Stop talking nonsense with him, kill him. Golden Lion took the opportunity to breathe a sigh of relief. Don't underestimate me. Vidova's eyes widened, and he shook the iron chain with all his strength. In his hands, the iron ball on the iron chain was waving flexibly, spinning like a terrifying whirlwind. Victor took half a puff of smoke into his lungs, dodged Vidova's iron ball, and before Vidova recovered the iron ball, Victor had already stepped on the iron chain. No matter how hard Vidova tried to drag, the iron ball didn't move at all. So much strength. Vidova was shocked in his heart. Victor looked at Prul and Cook with a cigarette in his mouth, and said, "Don't just stand still. Go to hell." Cook jumped up, his knife raised above his head, and even hid behind him. This is his way of exerting force. He can add more powerful chops by bending his body. However, before he could swing the knife, Victor kicked the iron ball away. The iron ball dragged Vidova and slammed into Prul's body. In the world of pirates, rather than saying that Admiral and 4 emperors are at the same level of combat power, it is better to say that only those who have stepped into this level are qualified to be called strong. As for the so-called deputy emperors, generals, and 3 disasters, in front of the real strong, they basically knocked one of them away with a single punch. The difference between them and ordinary people is that after being beaten, they can get up and get beaten several times. For example, Marco and Quinn, they have all been beaten by monsters, but they are still alive and well when they stand up. During the Summit War, Akainu knocked out a white team leader with one punch. Not even Marco could stop his blow. At this time, Victor's strength also caused Vidova and Prul to despair for a while. Cook held dual guns, armament hockey wrapped around the bullets, and he was about to fire. Suddenly, Victor disappeared. Cook's observation hockey made his own prediction. Victor was going to attack him head-on. He wanted to dodge, but Victor's fist reached him one step faster and hit him directly on the chest. With a click, a sternum was shattered, Cook's whole body fell back, and blood spurted out of his mouth. Your reflexes are good, but unfortunately your speed is too slow and your physical strength is not good. Victor teased, while sideways dodging Vidova's vengeance blow, before raising his leg and kicking Vidova in the stomach. With this kick, Vidova was kicked out. But Victor did not pursue the victory, but stopped. He turned his head to look at Prul, with a mocking smile in his eyes. As if mocking Prul. "You are a coward." With an angry expression on Prul's face, he rushed towards Victor with the field sword in both hands. However, Victor wasn't nervous or scared at all, he even snorted contemptuously. Overreach. He disappeared in place, disappeared in front of Prul, appeared behind him the next moment, and then slapped Prul's shoulder, deforming his shoulder. What? A scream came out of Prul's mouth. He clutched his left shoulder and knelt on one knee, in unbearable pain. Victor's right hand not only crushed Prul's shoulder blade, but also injected armament hockey, destroying all blood vessels, muscles, bones and nerves. At the same time, Akainu's battle can only be described as brutal. The cadres of Golden Lion were not defeated either. Although Victor is very strong, they believe that no matter how strong Victor is, there will be a moment of exhaustion. As long as they hold on. Once Victor loses his stamina, that's the best time for them to win. Moreover, during this process, Golden Lion can also recover some physical strength. Victor knew what they were thinking, but he had no intention of showing mercy to these guys. After Prul was abolished by Victor, Cook and Vidova did not end well. Among their characteristics, there is no one that is particularly fast. At this time, Akainu also blasted Angie away. Is this the first time he has blasted Angie away? Neither was recorded by Akainu. Angie spit out a mouthful of blood when he landed. He was so stunned that he couldn't think at all. If it wasn't for the help of his companions, he would have been killed by Akainu long ago. The same goes for the others. Although the flying pirates had an absolute advantage in numbers, after Golden Lion was hit hard, it was difficult for them to suppress Akainu by virtue of their numbers. At this time, you must rely on wisdom to fight. They have to find a way to break through. At this time, Golden Lion stood up again. He looked at the many subordinates killed by Victor, without any sadness or reluctance in his eyes. He has been galloping for so many years, except for the people he cares about, the life and death of other people has nothing to do with him. And the Golden Lion only cares about Roger at the moment. Still standing up. After killing several cadres of the flying pirates, Victor turned and asked Golden Lion, "If you want to escape, then you can." I saw the Golden Lion slashing in Victor's direction. However, Victor not only dodges easily, but also shoots gas bullets with the finger pistol. The bullet hit Golden Lion's knee. Golden Lion could only support his body with the sword in one hand and keep his balance. Victor swung the finger pistol again and fired bullets, but Golden Lion managed to dodge again. At this time, Golden Lion finally stood firm, and beads of sweat appeared on his forehead. "Loss of blood, it makes you so weak." Victor actually continued to make sarcastic remarks, provoking Golden Lion. HMPH. Golden Lion snorted coldly. "In this case, then I will send you to die." Victor lunges at the Golden Lion again. Golden Lion wanted to block with his sword, but Victor had already kicked a crescent-shaped slash. Golden Lion hurriedly raised his sword to block it, but the aftermath of the slash caused even greater trauma to his internal organs. Golden Lion was shaken back a few steps, and blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. At this time, Victor had already jumped in front of him, swung the finger pistol with his right hand, and stabbed at Golden Lion. "Damn it." Golden Lion cursed secretly, but he did not choose to fight recklessly, but avoided Victor's attack to the side. Victor's attack failed again, but he was not in a hurry. He continued to chase, and then flashed in front of Golden Lion, and the finger pistol with his right hand stabbed at Golden Lion's chest. Golden Lion's left arm was in front of his chest, but his left arm was pierced by Victor. Golden Lion's eyes suddenly widened. "You feel it. How can you win with your current reaction speed?" Victor continued to stimulate Golden Lion. "You bastard." Golden Lion clenched his fists. He lost to Victor. He is so arrogant. If only he could get to know Victor, maybe not. However, there is no regret medicine in the world. Now it's an ironclad fact. Even if you don't want to admit it, there's nothing you can do about it. Surrender. Be decent. Victor said lightly. Golden Lion didn't answer, but manipulated the surrounding land, causing it to fly. Lion Majesty governed place earthcoiling. Seeing this, Victor knew that Golden Lion would do his best to make a final counterattack. However, here, the power of Lion Majesty governed place earthcoiling is not as strong as before. Because the lions gathered this time were significantly smaller by more than half. This means that Golden Lion is already at the end of its battle. However, Victor didn't take Golden Lion's final counterattack seriously. I saw him rushing to the Golden Lion. Titan burst. The strength of Devil Fruit depends on the host itself. For example, when Luffy and Momonosuke were children, their bodies were too weak, so their abilities were as funny as they were. However, once you become an adult and your body strength increases, you will be able to exert stronger strength. Golden Lion is very weak now, his injuries are too serious, and now his strength has almost bottomed out due to excessive blood loss, and he can persist until now. One is because of vitality, and the other is because of willpower. However, Golden Lion is not destined to be Luffy, not the hero of the hot-blooded boy comics. Therefore, he has no chance of turning defeat into victory. Facing the shrunken version of the condensed Golden Lion, a cold light flashed in Victor's eyes. Immediately, golden light illuminated all directions, covering the entire space, and Golden Lion's body was immediately enveloped by these golden lights. Golden Lion's body trembled, and then he howled in pain. Boom. Accompanied by a huge sonic boom, the Golden Lion was blasted away. This time, the Golden Lion never stood up again. Ended. Victor used observation haki to target Golden Lion, observed his injury, and now Golden Lion is seriously injured. If this level of injury was applied to ordinary people, they would have died hundreds of times and thousands of times. However, for the Golden Lion, such an injury is not bad. He just needs to rest for a while. But at this time, Victor didn't dare to be careless. The strength shown by the Golden Lion just now made him clearly realize that even if they are exhausted, they can fight to the end with their own fighting will. This power has surpassed the limit of ordinary human beings. Won? We won. Long live Lord Victor. At this time, Marine began to cheer and celebrate the victory. On the other hand, the subordinates of Golden Lion are all in a state of mourning, with no morale. Run away. Among the pirates, whoever yelled first, then someone turned around and ran towards the beach. At first it was just a small group of people, then a large group of people. Catch them. Don't let them go. Eric and the others reacted and immediately urged the Marines to hunt down the pirates. They were also afraid that the pirates would take advantage of the chaos and leave. What are we going to do? Are we going to run away? Escape? What should I do? Aren't we going to retreat quickly? The psychological defense of the flying pirates completely collapsed, and one by one began to discuss in a panic, and some even started to turn around and run away, but the Marines caught up with them and fell to the ground. The flying pirates really wanted to run, but Marine might not be able to stop them. Victor only has 10,000 Marines in the G1 branch. Although they are all elites, the strength of the flying pirates is not weak. It was only because the Golden Lion was defeated that they lost their fighting spirit. And Victor has no time to care about it now. Victor turned to help Akainu, and the two teamed up to clean up the strong members of the flying pirates. However, the flying pirates perfectly inherited the tradition of the Rocks pirates. When the Golden Lion was defeated, his cadres fled in all directions. Although Marine has hunted down a large number of them, there are still a lot of fish that slipped through the net and escaped back. Victor didn't go after them either, as much as he could catch. Anyway, the big fish Golden Lion was caught. After the battle, Victor rests in the tent. At this point, Victor's body was covered with bandages. Akainu walked in and saw Victor covered in bandages. Akainu's injury is not serious, but only slightly injured, and a simple bandage will do. After this time is over, you can upgrade Rear Admiral when you go back. Victor said to Akainu with a smile. Akainu didn't respond. Promotion? That is a matter of course. They teamed up and got the Golden Lion down. However, Victor suddenly changed the topic. After this incident is over, it may be even more difficult to take action next time. After hearing Victor's words, Akainu said, if there is such an opportunity, then I will help you. Although Akainu didn't like Victor Zhongyang's character, Victor's actions this time won his trust. He believed in Victor, not only because of Victor's record and strength. It is because of Victor, who has courage, and insist on justice. This is why Akainu is willing to cooperate with Victor. With courage and courage, such a person deserves to fight alongside Akainu. After hearing Akainu's words, Victor smiled slightly. It seems that Akainu has a foundation of trust in him. This is of course a good thing. Without Victor's, Akainu would definitely be the hawk in Marine. Now, though, Victor is even more hawkish than hawkish. This violated the instructions of his superiors and rashly declared war on the big pirate in New World. The news will spread soon, and I believe his popularity in Marine will be even higher. Garp is not only strong, but also because of Garp's personality, he is admired by countless Marines. His prestige is comparable to that of the Marine Marshal, if not higher. Marineford, Naval Headquarters. Sora, Sengoku and the others are standing by the phone bug. Blue blue. Blue blue. When the phone bug rang, Sora picked up the receiver. The battle is over. Victor Vice Admiral beat the Golden Lion and captured him. Call ended. After being notified, the entire office fell silent. It actually did it. Kong muttered to himself, he didn't expect Victor could really defeat Golden Lion. And the Golden Lion didn't run away, and was captured alive. I can't believe it. The Golden Lion successfully escaped from the Valley of the Gods incident 10 years ago. And he is the coolest one among the Rocks pirates. He does deliver surprises, though. Sengoku hesitated to speak. Sora said to the others, except for Sengoku and Xiaozuru, everyone else goes out. Soon, there were only 3 people left in the office. Sora told Sengoku. The next problem, it's hard to solve. Yeah. Sengoku nodded. Victor captured the Golden Lion, and the world will admire his strength and courage. This creates a problem for us. Leave that to the 5 elders. Sora smiled wryly. Victor acted without authorization this time, but got into big trouble. In the past, both the world government and the 5 elders just wanted a dynamic balance. New World is under the control of pirates, and the 5 elders don't care at all. The reason for this is intriguing. What the 5 elders in the world government need is a messy new world. It's not just Sora and Sengoku's idea. Successive marine marshals, or the marshals' successors, will have similar thoughts and feelings. As Sora and Sengoku thought, the 5 elders have met within the entitlement to discuss Victor and New World issues. How does Victor arrange it? Who will be the new overlord of the New World? In the New World that lost its overlord, new monsters will be born again. The balance is broken and order needs to be re-established. How to place Victor became a big problem. Victor caught the Golden Lion, which is naturally a great credit. Now that the flying pirates are almost wiped out, Marines including Victor will all be promoted and rewarded in terms of meritorious deeds. However, Victor is already the commander of the G1 branch, and further up is the headquarters admiral. Although Victor's strength is enough to be the admiral of the headquarters, Victor has broken the balance of New World. That's something the 5 elders don't want to see. If Victor becomes admiral, will he continue to launch a war against New World after he has more power, and will really wipe out all the pirates in New World? In fact, the world government has always had the ability to wipe out any power and wipe any individual who threatens the world government from history. However, the reason they didn't do this was because they wanted New World to remain in turmoil. Only by keeping the New World in turmoil, some of the secrets buried in the New World can be hidden. Moreover, the more turbulent the area, the more crime and terror can breed, and the people of ordinary countries can only survive if they rely on the world government. Holy Land, Mariajoy, Pangu City, between the powers. Since you choose to train him, you can only persevere. His parents were killed by pirates, so it is understandable that he hates pirates and wants to eliminate them. However, he did act without authorization this time, and caused a large number of casualties in the G1 branch. I don't think it was his fault. Good. I can understand how he feels. So, what should we do? I think I know what to do with it. I think you know. What should we do about it? Of course, the mistakes he made. How should we punish him? Are you trying to punish him? Of course. What do you think? I think, this kind of punishment, he will definitely not be able to accept it. Instead of punishing him, it is better to let him stay in the Holy Land. The 5 elders had some disagreements about how to deal with Victor, and they decided not to punish Victor. Victor's character is too strong, and his parents were also killed by pirates. This kind of hatred can't be resolved at all, and even punishment can't change anything. And Victor has made meritorious service, so he should be rewarded naturally. Okay. Let's make Victor fit for Admiral and bring him back at the same time. Let's deal with it like this. After being transferred back, he won't have a chance to deal with the New World pirates. After the 5 elders negotiated, the result was made. Victor is a strong man. Even if he acts privately, he cannot be punished. In the G1 branch, Marines suffered more than 5,700 casualties during the crusade against Golden Lion. However, nearly 12,000 pirates were killed or captured. Such a casualty count is already a big victory in New World. At this time, a high platform was temporarily built on the school grounds, and the high platform was filled with cash and military medals. After the war, Victor sent someone to withdraw the money. Real money. Brothers killed in battle and disabled, each will receive 1 million Baileys. Those who survived will receive 300,000 Baileys per person, and an additional 100,000 Baileys will be given to each person with a higher rank. You risk your life to fight for justice, and your sacrifice cannot be in vain. Brothers who died in battle and disabled, you will receive a pension every month. As long as you are my Victor's subordinates, then I will not ignore you. When Victor spoke, people had already opened all the money boxes. Now, come up to receive money and military medals according to your name. After Victor finished speaking, he looked at Wright, Connor and others. Jimmy, Bart, Bass, Hunter. The Marines whose names were being read stepped up to the high platform one by one to collect the money. Meaningless. This way of receiving money can make the sense of ceremony full. Every Marine who came to the stage to receive the money, after receiving the money and signing, was full of pride in his heart. Akainu and others watched from a distance, and they were also very surprised. They didn't expect Victor to be so rich, let alone so generous. I heard Victor is good at making money. It seems to be the same as the rumors say. Ghost Spider and Dogman whispered. As long as justice can be upheld. At this time, Akainu spoke. Rumor has it that Victor is extorting money from South Blue, doing whatever it takes. The headquarters even sent an investigation team. However, Victor is still safe and sound. Now, Victor spends such a large amount of money as a reward as consolation money at one time. Where did all this money come from? Victor must be speechless. However, Akainu is unimpressed. Victor's performance, as well as Victor's persistence and awareness of justice, inspired Akainu. It turns out that there are people like him who are determined to destroy the pirates. Even if Victor does do anything to get money, Victor is doing the right thing, and that's right. And Akainu's idea was within Victor's expectation. He needs to rationalize everything. So far, he's doing pretty well. Promotion to Admiral is a sure thing, just waiting for the appointment of 5 elders. However, when you become Admiral, you are not so free. 5 elders will definitely move him in order to restore the balance of New World. Of course, this is in line with Victor's expectations. That way he can do his own thing with peace of mind. This is one part of Victor's plan, and now, this part has begun. In his plan, he needs Admiral's power to pave the way for his next step. Long live Lord Victor! Long live Lord Victor! At this time, someone in the crowd suddenly shouted, "Long live Lord Victor! Fight for justice, for Lord Victor! Long live Lord Victor! Fight for justice, for Lord Victor!" It was the members of the Blue Ocean Society who took the lead, but they drove everyone's emotions. 10 days later, news of Victor's defeat and capture of the Golden Lion was published in the newspapers and spread throughout the world. This news has caused extremely shocking reactions around the world. Aboard the Golden Jackson, except for Roger, Rayleigh, Jabba and others all had solemn expressions. Not long after they fought Golden Lion was defeated by Victor unexpectedly. The flying pirates that ran rampant in the New World were destroyed just like that. And Victor's name pops up again. He's still a very young Marine. How strong is his strength? He was able to capture the Golden Lion alive. Not only on the Golden Jackson, but on the Moby Dick, on Cake Island, on Beast Island. On the ships of the major pirate forces in New World, or on the territory. Whitebeard, Ant, Kaido and others all looked dignified. Garp, Sengoku were strong but never give them a dangerous feeling. Instead, it was Victor who made them wary. Maybe one day, Victor will sneak up on them. This is not unfounded worry. However, it was only 3 days after Victor caught the Golden Lion news. The news is not yet digested around the world. Another big news has been announced. Victor has been promoted to Admiral. When the world government announced this news through the newspaper, the whole world was shocked. Victor is only 20 years old. Moreover, it took less than a year to be promoted from Colonel Marine to Admiral. Of course, no one questioned Victor's strength and ability. Because Victor has captured so many powerful pirates, and recently captured the Golden Lion and wiped out the flying pirates. Although the flying pirates do not have the name of being the Overlord, they already have the status of being the Overlord, and all major forces in the New World will choose to avoid their edge. Therefore, apart from Garp, Victor is currently the second player in Naval Headquarters. According to the information provided in the newspaper, Victor will step down as the commander of the G1 branch, and then return to Marineford to hold the award ceremony. Victor was sitting in the office, he was smoking a cigarette calmly. Akainu was sitting opposite him. There are newspapers in front of them. Newspapers are full of news about Victor. Obviously, the world government is praising him and promoting him. Now, Victor's reputation is second only to Garp, and even Sora and Sengoku can't compare to him. After all, every guy Victor catches is a big fish. Unfortunately, I thought you'd be promoted to Vice Admiral. Victor said to Akainu. Akainu doesn't care. As for the Ghost Spider, Dugman also thinks that the headquarters should at least let Akainu be promoted to Vice Admiral, and then take over as the Deputy Commander of G1. I've written all the letters of recommendation. Victor looked at Ghost Spider and Dogman. You will also stay in G1, there are more opportunities here. Ghost Spider and Dogman were a little surprised, but they didn't expect Victor to recommend them. Although they are classmates with Victor, they are not familiar with each other. I've written your letter of recommendation as well, Victor said to Akainu. Also recommended me? Akainu looked at Victor. Victor said, I recommend you to be the commander of the Special Forces. The headquarters has also seen your strength, and they will agree. The tasks of Special Forces are often very special and lack reinforcements. Therefore, the requirements for the commander's strength and ability are relatively high. This time against the Golden Lion, the strength Akainu showed is enough to prove his strength and ability. At this moment, Nun Vice Admiral walked in. If there is no accident, then the position of commander of the G1 branch is still not up to Nun. The reason is that Nun's strength is not enough and his qualifications are average. Victor also wrote a letter of recommendation to Nun and handed it to Nun. Uncle Nun, I recommend you to go to the Science Corps. The world government has established a scientific force long ago, and the core of the scientific force is Vegapunk. The status of science troops in Marine will be higher and higher. The reason why Nun was recommended to the science force was also Victor's selfishness. He and Nun weren't particularly close, but they were acquaintances. Let Nun stay in G1, sooner or later he will be squeezed out. After all, the young people of the new generation of Marine are better than each other. A good post for Marine is a radish and a pit. If he is really squeezed out, then Nun may return to the headquarters early to retire. Well, I'll consider it. Nun accepted Victor's letter of recommendation. Victor upgraded all the Marines in the G1 branch to 1 level. Especially for military officers, if they are disabled and unsuitable to fight on the front line, he also wrote a letter of recommendation and asked them to return to the headquarters to work. They are all the logistics department of the headquarters. As for the members of the Blue Ocean Club, he gave them special treatment. In short, no one was left behind, and the ones who should be taken care of should be given special care. For Victor's gang-forming behavior, both Sengoku and Kuang are used to it. Victor and newcomer Paris Vice Admiral hand over. Paris Vice Admiral, 55, is a senior dove at Naval Headquarters. Paris is Sora's subordinate, and Sora hopes that Paris will adjust the G1 branch. The current G1 branch is influenced by Victor, which is really too radical. World government doesn't want Marine to be too radical. As for the reason, Marine just needs to execute the command. Marineford, Naval Headquarters. Victor walked into the empty office doorway. The office door is closed. Report. Victor stood up straight. Come in. Sora said towards the door. Victor opened the door and walked in. Sit down. Kuang motioned for Victor to sit on the couch. Victor wasn't too polite. The awarding ceremony will be held in a month, Kuang said to Victor. Marine Admiral is the highest combat power of the world government, and at the same time, it is also a direct unit of the world nobles. Therefore, the investiture ceremony must be grand and widely advertised so that the whole world knows about it. This is to promote the power of Marine to the world. Yes. Victor has no problem with the investiture ceremony. There will be an external live broadcast at the awarding ceremony, allowing audiences all over the world to see the majesty of Marine. Victor has seen the investiture ceremonies of Sengoku and Zephyr. During this month, you can take a good vacation, Sora said to Victor. Yes. Victor replied. From now on, your code name is Schwanma. Sora continued. Yes. Victor then answered. The sky is mysterious and the ground is yellow. Zon means black. Dark horse. He is indeed the dark horse of this world and era, which is unexpected. Okay. Do you have any requirements? After this promotion, you need to be stationed in Mariajoy, and you can choose your favorite subordinates. Sora accepted Sengoku's suggestion, and he had to follow him when dealing with Victor, so that he could guide him. Although Victor defends his shortcomings and forms gangs, he has a good intention. Victor used the money he got to pay the dead and disabled Marines as pensions. Send money to the Marines who participated in the battle to encourage them to fight bravely. This is not a bad thing. Therefore, Kuang felt that Victor's behavior of making money was not unacceptable. Moreover, the main targets of Victor's extortion are nobles, wealthy businessmen, and big landlords. Victor, however, is in no rush to nominate. Marshal, after I sort out the list, I will submit it to you. After listening to Victor's words, Sora nodded and let Victor go back first. Victor is in no rush to recommend this list. In fact, being stationed at Mariajoy is a very boring job. Only green bulls can adapt. After all, how could they raid Mariajoy unless they were out of their wits? However, Victor knew that there were people out of their minds. Victor was promoted to Marine Admiral. Oren, Marta and many other old South Blue divisions were very happy. They are all under Victor and members of the Blue Ocean Club. Victor has been promoted to Marine Admiral, and their future is even brighter. And Victor didn't forget South Blue, to be exact, he didn't forget 4 Seas. Including South Blue, he hopes that the world will become his cash cow, his cornucopia. Therefore, Victor took advantage of the vacation and went back to South Blue first. The reason is to go to South Blue instead of sending them to Marineford. There is a deep meaning in this. Oren gets a fax that Victor is coming back to South Blue. The news made Oren very excited. Did you see it? Oren said to Marine beside him. Lord Victor values AAS so much that he specially came to visit us before the awarding ceremony. Master Victor is nostalgic. We are Lord Victor's henchmen. Master Victor knows that we are his most loyal subordinates. Our performance, Mr. Victor can see it. We must not disappoint Master Victor's expectations. All the Marines beside Oren looked as if they had been slapped with chicken blood. Their expressions are excited. You know Victor is now Marine Admiral, one of the most powerful people in Marine. Not to mention the whole world, even the Marine in the headquarters wants to curry favor with him. As long as Admiral's recommendation letter, you can arrange to serve in any army. For example, Smoker has done a lot of things that defy military orders. If it were Marine with no background, he would have been dismissed long ago. But Smoker's rank is getting higher and higher. The reason is that there are people like Zephyr and Aokiji covering them. Smoker wanted to go to G5, so Aokiji got him to go to G5. Therefore, Victor's return this time has completely moved South Blue's old subordinates. Like Oren, Colonel Marta was agitated. Victor mentioned in the fax that he would stop at the port of Leinster. This is nostalgia. Master Victor remembers us. Marta excitedly took the fax and announced it to all officers and soldiers. The sun is shining brightly, and the seagulls are flying freely on the sea. The port of Leinster was quiet. Originally, in the port, merchants, hawkers, porters, and passengers should have been running around for their livelihood. However, all are now required to stand in line. It was Marine who gave the order. If they don't, fines, beatings, jail time, ban from working in South Blue. It is even possible to be executed as a pirate. In short, in South Blue's Leinster Harbor, Wilhelm Harbor and other places, you must absolutely obey Marine's orders. However, law and order has indeed improved. At this time, Oren Commodore, Colonel Marta and others led nearly 10,000 Marines to greet them in the port. At the same time, more than 20 warships lined up, waiting for inspection. Oren will still come. Knowing that Victor is coming back, the scene will be full immediately. I'm coming. Marine on the mast saw the huge warship in the distance through the telescope. It was Victor Admiral's ship. As the warship docked, Victor appeared on the side of the ship. He raised his left hand and stretched it forward horizontally. This is a gesture designed by Lan Heiwi. Long live Lord Victor. Oren was the first to yell out, his voice blushing and his face blushing. Long live Lord Victor. Long live Lord Victor. Long live Lord Victor. Marta and other officers, as well as nearly 10,000 Marines shouted in unison, and the sound waves seemed to penetrate the clouds and break through the sky. At this moment, Victor's left hand clenched into a fist and raised above his head. The audience fell silent. Victor is very satisfied. This performance means awe and discipline. This is a good team. Afterwards, Victor took Eric, Kennard and others off the warship and began to inspect the troops in the port. South Blue's troops, trained according to Victor's training method, are currently considered strong. It's just that it still lacks the experience of iron and fire. After all, South Blue is not as good as New World, and the strength of pirates is too weak. Victor walked in front of nearly 10,000 Marines. At this time, the nobles, businessmen, residents, and tourists in Leinster Harbor, regardless of age, all applauded and welcomed them together. Although they all had smiles on their faces, they were very reluctant in their hearts. It was already the next day when Morgan Rear Admiral learned that Victor had arrived at Branch 191. Morgan Rear Admiral hurried to see Victor with the officers of the 6th Fleet. Not only Morgan Rear Admiral, South Blue's Marine are all running towards Leinster. The reasons are the same. Want to be promoted, want to climb up. If you want to climb up, you need connections and background. Unfortunately, these two things are not available to most people. There was already a long queue at the gate of the 191 branch base. The nobles, merchants, and big landowners from Leinster Port, Wilhelm Port, Arthur Kingdom and other places all came to give gifts. If it was before, then when they were blackmailed by Victor, they must have been unwilling to speak out. But today is different. Victor has been promoted to Marine Admiral, and Victor's power can change the fate of a country. Therefore, they are even willing to grovel and beg Victor to accept their gifts, just hoping to keep in touch with Victor. Of course, they all knew that even if many people wanted to give Victor a gift, they might not have the opportunity. Because they all keep in touch with members of the Blue Ocean Club, they can meet Victor. Water flows to lower place, man goes to higher position. For many Marines, that was the pinnacle of power. If Victor can carry them, they're likely to be promoted to naval headquarters. For Marines from all over the world, being able to go to the headquarters is their lifelong wish. Duke Richard donated 10 boxes of gold, 5,000 cattle and sheep, and a mine. Duke Richard smiled at Victor as Connor read the gift list. Duke, you are welcome. On behalf of all Marines, thank you for your emotion. Victor accepted all the gifts in the name of donation. Anyway, all the money in his fund account is in his hands. Morgan Rear Admiral sent 50 boxes of desserts. The so-called dessert box is filled with desserts on the top and cash under the desserts. A box of 2 million Baileys, 50 boxes is 100 million Baileys. Victor looked at Morgan Rear Admiral and smiled with satisfaction. Morgan Rear Admiral, I heard that you want to join the Blue Ocean Club and follow me. Yes, I am willing to follow behind you, purify the sea, and wipe out all the pirates, Morgan Rear Admiral said righteously. Well, then join the Blue Ocean Club first. If you perform well, then I will promote you to the headquarters. Thank you, Lord Victor. Excited, Morgan thanked Victor on the spot. It's completely different when you get to the headquarters. The gold content of the captain's rank in the headquarters is even higher than that of the colonel in the Four Seas branch. You have to work hard, and you can ask Oren if you don't understand, Victor said with a smile. Thank you, Lord Victor. When Morgan thanked Victor, Marine's eyes sparkled behind him. Oren immediately raised his head and chest, his face showing pride. Victor has appointed him as the head of the South Blue Ocean Club. Victor returned to South Blue for two purposes. One was to support Oren, and let Oren act as his agent to control South Blue for him. The second is to take the opportunity of returning to South Blue to tell all followers that the longer they join, the more they can be reused. Thousands of gold buy the bones of the Chalima. Is the picture of the bones of the Chalima? Of course not. Willing to spend thousands of dollars to buy the bones of Maxima, that proves that he likes and values A Maxima. And, never underestimate the little people. They can make a big difference sometimes. Although Oren and the others are weak, they can manage South Blue well and earn money for him without Victor's hands, and he only needs to pay some rewards to keep them loyal. At least, they are outwardly faithful. Victor returned to Marineford after spending a few days at South Blue. Victor goes to the military academy to meet Zephyr. Zephyr always had a smile on his face when he saw Victor. Victor is his proudest student. Be an admiral at the age of 20. This is the power of role models to inspire new generations. Victor also accepted Zephyr's invitation and stayed in the military academy for a few days to answer various questions from the juniors. He was patient and answered their questions. And a week before the investiture ceremony, Victor saw a piece of news. Douglas Bullitt, what a crazy guy. Victor reads the news in the newspaper. After Bullitt left the Roger Pirates, he began to wreak havoc. Now Bullet, like Locke, is a pirate supernova. Victor remembered that the two would fight. If nothing else, it should be sometime next year. Victor continued to read the newspaper, looking for interesting news. Most news, though, is boring. The reason why they are called boring is because they are talking about the pirates of New World over and over again. There are also exaggerated parts. For example, which pirate group did Roger destroy? Which challenger did Whitebeard defeat? Which country did Big Mom destroy? And so on. This kind of news is too common to interest Victor. Blue blue. Blue blue. At this time, the phone bug started calling. Victor picked up the phone bug's microphone. At this time, the phone bug imitated Sora's voice. Victor, there is a little emergency, and you need to be dispatched immediately. Sora said to Victor. Yes. Victor didn't want to refuse. Angarati Saint's boat has an accident and is currently trapped on Grove Island. During the accident, it was attacked by Sea Kings. Now first ask Marine to send Admiral to rescue immediately. Sora said with a face full of headaches. Understood. Victor stood up and left. Although Marine Admiral has extremely high power, it has also become a direct force of celestial dragons. When the celestial dragons are in danger, they naturally send Admiral to the rescue. Garp doesn't want to be Admiral because of this type of mission. Grove Island. A luxury cruise ship is inserted in the center of the island. At this time, a group of agents and guards in armor were protecting Angelati from being attacked by the Sea Kings. This is a huge sea frog with a body length of more than 500 meters. In order to protect Angelati-san, the agents shot at the sea frog. The rocket launcher is also fired continuously. The target is the eye of the sea frog. As long as the sea frog is irritated, it can attract the attention of the sea frog, so that Angelati can get out of danger. The continuous attacks did have a slight effect. The sea frog is visibly angry as it sticks out its long, wide, split-ended, slime-coated tongue. The power of the tongue was quite terrifying, instantly raising a large forest to the ground, and engulfing dozens of guards, turning them into a puddle of flesh. The sea frog sticks out its tongue lightning fast, and its body skin is tough. Even rockets can't hurt its skin. Take your highness away. At this moment, Angela Tishang's guard captain yelled, and then he raised the 5-meter-long axe in his hand and slammed it at the sea frog. However, the 500-meter-long Sea Kings still failed to break through. Not even a trace of marks on the skin. This monster is horrible. What to do? Its body is too strong, we can't hurt it at all. Are we going to die here tonight? The guards looked at the weapons in their hands and hesitated whether to die. Even if you die, you must protect Saint Angelati, and think about your family. The captain of the guard reminded the people around him. As the guards of celestial dragons, if they can't protect the safety of celestial dragons, not only will they die, but their families will also be punished and reduced to slavery. Hearing the captain's words, everyone suddenly woke up. They cannot be timid, because the celestial dragon's survival depends on them. They can't let their family members die, that's their dereliction of duty. Kill it. The captain yelled. A group of guards rushed towards the sea frog. They know that there is no way out now, unless they can kill the sea frog, but killing the sea frog is not so simple. Lead it away, and try to buy time for His Highness to transfer. The captain was instructing, when suddenly, the sea frog's tongue stuck out, and it actually stuck the captain to the tongue and pulled it into its mouth. It's like an anteater licking. The captain was quickly consumed. Seeing such a scene, all the guards were frightened. At this time, Angela Tishang had been emboldened. In fact, it was Angelati who killed her. When he was free, he would shoot fish into the sea at will. As a result, the fish didn't explode much, but the sea frogs in the sea were angered. Where's Marine? Where's Marine Admiral? Angelati-san was terrified, the first time he encountered such a thing. Your Highness, don't worry, Marine will come to rescue you immediately. The agent next to Angela Tishang comforted him. Then why hasn't Marine come yet? Angela Dessen asked. Your Highness, Marine Admiral will definitely come, please wait for a while. The agent continued to comfort. Now the agents are speechless. Although it is not far from Marineford, it will take about a day for Marine to come here. Finally, under the appeasement of the agents, Angelati came to a cave. At this time, the surviving agents and guards breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that in a short time, they are finally safe. However, less than half an hour had passed. Angela Tishung suddenly shouted, "Marine, where is Marine? Why don't you come to rescue Ben Shang?" The agent hurriedly comforted him. "Your Highness, it is safe for the time being, and Marine will be back soon." However, as soon as the agent finished speaking, Angelotti raised his pistol and shot and killed the agent. "Are you playing Ben Shang like a child? You lied to Ben Shang from the beginning." Angelotti is very suspicious. He often suspects that people around him are deceiving him. Therefore, if those around him cannot meet his needs, then he will execute the people around him. "Why did you choose such a route? Are you trying to kill me on purpose?" Angelotti had just killed an agent, and he still couldn't calm down his emotions. As long as his paranoia flares up, he will become paranoid. The agents and guards around were terrified, for fear of being killed by Angela Tishung. It's a pity that no one dared to come forward to persuade. Angela Tishung was already in a state of madness at this time. At this moment, a huge sea frog jumped onto the island, and it began to hunt on the island. The creatures on the island, including the guards who fought for the sea frogs to escape in order to attract the attention of the sea frogs, all became the predation targets of the sea frogs. The sea frog makes a huge noise every time it sticks out its tongue. Pieces of woods collapsed, trunks snapped, and rumbling noises continued. Under such terrible movements, Angelotti's uneasiness continued to magnify, and the more uneasy he became, the more neurotic he became. About 2 hours passed. "Where's Marine? Why didn't you come?" So he raised his gun and fired at one of the guards. The guard was shot and fell to the ground. Angela Tishung immediately rushed to another guard, and then slashed at the other 2 guards with the knife in his hand. The 2 guards evaded quickly, but they still couldn't dodge, and they were hacked to death by Angela Tishung in the end. After Angela Tishung killed the 2, he began to kill himself. "Run! Angela Tishung is crazy." The agents and guards panicked. They didn't dare to stop Angelotti, so they could only run in a panic. Not long after they ran out of the cave, a thick and wide tongue shot from a distance, stuck them, and rolled them directly into their mouths. Angela Tishung was still in a tizzy just now, but he ran to the entrance of the cave and immediately regained consciousness after witnessing the guards and agents being preyed upon. "Come and protect me." Angela Tishung made a horrified sound. Boom. There was a loud bang. The tongue of the sea frog hit the place where Angelotti was, and a hole was pierced in place. Angela Tishung looked in horror at the hole he didn't want to come out of. An agent had just rescued him. "Your Highness, are you all right?" the agent asked hastily. Angela Tishung didn't answer. He was already frightened now, and he was terribly frightened. "What is that? On the sea, a pirate ship is sailing on the sea." Suddenly, the navigator found a figure in the sky. The navigator continued to observe with a telescope, and the figure became clearer and clearer. "Be a Titan, oh my God, is the Titan flying?" The navigator found a passer-by flying in the sky, and there was a blue air current surging around him, and the flying speed was extremely fast. After hearing the voice of their companions, the crew members on the pirate ship looked up one after another. At this point, Victor transforms into a Titan. Although he cannot create elements, he can control them. He controlled the wind element to fly, and rushed to Grove Island at the fastest speed. It used to take a day, but now it is much faster by flying. When Victor arrived on Grove Island, he found a giant sea frog on the island. The body length exceeds 500 meters. This type of sea kings is not easy to deal with. Moreover, sea kings has tough skin, typical rough skin and thick flesh, and ordinary attacks can only tickle it. Victor returned to human form and landed on the island. He soon found Angelotti-san's hiding place. Also, Victor saw some interesting things. Angela D-san hunts down guards and agents. Interesting guy. Victor discovers that Angelotti-san is mentally unstable. If it was Sengoku, Zephyr, etc., they would rush up to defeat the sea frog without hesitation, and then send Angelotti-san back. But Victor didn't do that. He has an idea. Maybe he could use Angelotti Street just like Musgarid-san. Musgarid-san was going to the Fishman Island in order to snatch back the freed Murloc slaves. During the voyage, he was attacked by sea kings and drifted to the Fishmen Island. Even though Musgarad was seriously injured and had nowhere to turn for help, he still remained arrogant and threatened the residents of the island to help him. The Murlocs who had been enslaved by him planned to take the opportunity to kill him, but Princess Otahime stopped him in time. When he was about to shoot and kill Otahime, the Sea Kings were frightened unconscious by Shirahoshi's crying. After recovering from the injury, Otahime personally sent her back to the Holy Land, moved by Otahime's advice, and decided to repay the Fishmen Island's kindness one day. And 10 years later, Musgarad-san did exactly that. Of course, there aren't many celestial dragons with a personality like Musgarad's. But never mind, Victor was just trying to get close to Angelati-san. If Angela Dishung could gain the trust, or even favor, then maybe he could learn more about IM's secrets. After all, Victor's ultimate goal is to defeat IM and sit on the Void Throne, which symbolizes supremacy. At this time, although Angela Dishung regained his senses, it was too late. They successfully attracted the attention of the sea frog. The huge body of the sea frog was destroying the mountain walls around the cave. Under the destruction of the sea frogs, broken rocks continued to fall down the mountain wall. How to do? Hurry up and save me. Damn Marine, why aren't you here? Angela Dishung let out an angry and desperate roar. We rushed out to divert the attention of the sea frog, and you all escaped with your highness. At this time, after discussing with the agents, the surviving guards began to run. However, as soon as they ran out, they were caught by the tongue of the sea frog. They stuck to their tongues, terrified, but unable to break free. They could only be swallowed by sea frogs. At this time, Angela Dishung was desperate. It's over, it's all over. Angela Dishung collapsed on the ground, seeing the guards and agents being eaten by sea frogs one by one. His face was blue with fright. He is completely desperate. At this time, the sea frog started to dig the soil again, trying to dig out the mountain wall and dig out the people in the cave. Sea kings are all intelligent, and sea frogs are no exception. The reason why it attacked Angelati-san was not to prey, but out of anger. Therefore, we must kill Angela Dishung and his gang. You can't stay here and wait to die. A crack the size of a fist appeared in the cave, and staying inside would definitely be a dead end. So, an agent said to the people around him, you run out separately, run separately, try to buy time for me. As long as His Highness is alive, your family will be treated well. The implication is that everyone must be sacrificed to protect San Angelati. However, no one objected. As Angela Dishung's guards, they have long been awakened. So, the people in the cave ran out one by one. However, as soon as they went out, they were swept away by the long and wide tongue. Seeing this, the agent counted the time in his heart, and then ran out with Angelati on his back. As soon as he got out, the agent jumped up. In the next second, he narrowly escaped the attack of the sea frog's tongue. However, before he landed, the sea frog stuck out its tongue again. This time, Angelati and the agent couldn't dodge, stuck by the long and wide tongue. Just as it was about to be swallowed, a crescent-shaped white slash flew over, cutting off the sea frog's tongue abruptly. After the sea frog's long, thick tongue is cut open, blood spurts from the wound, like a blowout in an oil field. Blood was poured out, and it rained blood. Ah! The sea frog let out a painful roar, and the sound waves were so huge that the eardrums of Angelati Shang and others were about to be shattered. At this time, Victor appeared in front of Angelati Shang and others, with his back turned to them, leaving only the back of Justice. It's Marine to the rescue. Angela Dessen was still in despair just now. She thought she was going to die, but she didn't expect to turn around and come back from a desperate situation. It's like a roller coaster ride. You guys step back first, and I will deal with it alone. Victor turned around and said to Angelati and the others. His tone was very firm. After Victor finished speaking, he walked slowly towards the sea frog. Seeing this scene, Angela Dishung and others immediately stepped back. The sea frog looked at Victor, and it raised its forelegs and slapped Victor hard. This palm is astonishingly powerful, extremely fast, and full of power. If it hits someone, it will definitely be smashed into meat sauce. Seeing the ferocious blow of the sea frog, Victor didn't dodge anything. He stood straight on the spot without any resistance, just watching. The sea frog's devastating slap landed on Victor. Boom. The palm of the sea frog hit Victor's left palm heavily, making a muffled sound. Plop, the sea frog flew upside down into the sky, hundreds of meters high. Then, it fell from the air again, making a big hole in the ground. What a powerful force. Seeing this scene, Angela Tishung and the others were stunned. Although the agents knew Victor was strong, they didn't expect him to be this strong. The sea frogs are sea kings, possessing terrifying strength, and they are very powerful, but they were blown away by Victor's understated palm in front of them. How can that be? However, before the sea kings flew out of the pit, Victor disappeared in place. He jumped into the air and then fell from the air, stepping on the white belly of the sea frog with his right foot. The sea frog's body trembled continuously, and then a stream of fresh blood flowed out of its body, staining the ground red. Its body turned red, which looked terrifying. What? The sea frog let out a shrill scream as it struggled to get up from the ground. But just as it got up a little bit, Victor held down its belly with his hand. Then press hard. Crack. There was the sound of bones breaking, followed by the sea frog's abdomen being crushed. Gululu, the sea frog uttered an unwilling cry, and then died. Victor put his foot down first, with sheer strength. And just that pressure poured armament hockey into the body of the sea frog. The internal organs, blood vessels, muscles, nerves, etc. of the sea frog were all destroyed by armament hockey. Of course, Victor was able to kill the sea frog in one blow just now. Just to show off your strength. So I played for a while longer. Angela Tishung, are you okay? At this moment Victor turned to look at Angela Tishung and the others. I know you. You are the new Xuanma Admiral. At this time, Angela Dessen looked at Victor with an excited expression. I came to rescue immediately after I learned that Angela T was trapped. Victor replied calmly. Thanks to your rescue, Ben Sheng was able to survive this time. It is really thanks to you. Angela T looked at Victor with a grateful expression. It's my duty to wait for Marine. Victor said calmly. Ha ha ha. Saint Angela T said, you are still the most reliable, and I will reward you. Thank you, Angela T. Victor replied. What do you want? Wealth? Power? A woman? Angela Dessen continued to ask Victor. Victor replied. If I can choose, then I hope to gain your trust. Ha ha ha, Victor, I will remember you. When Angela Dishung laughed, the agent beside him thought to himself. Victor is so smart, he got a backer so quickly. From the agent's point of view, Victor wants to use Angela T as a backer to compete for the position of future marshal. After Victor sent Angela T back to Mariajoy safely, he returned to Marineford to wait for the awarding ceremony. Finally, the awarding ceremony officially began. On the day of the awarding ceremony, just as Victor expected, World Government started the live broadcast. The Bubble Plaza in Sabaody Archipelago has already set up 3 huge screens. On the square, reporters from various newspapers came early, carrying long guns and short cannons, recording this moment in history. The youngest admiral in marine history, long live justice. Long live Marine. Long live Victor Admiral. Part of the Sabaody Archipelago's pre-arranged crowd stood up in unison, yelling at the screen in the square. The world government is making gods and creating new heroes. Shaki leaned against the tree, smoking a cigarette peacefully, admiring the script of world government. At this time, the picture on the screen is the front of Marineford Fortress, and the warships in the port are lined up, which is quite spectacular. With the majestic fortress, it seems to be showing force to the whole world. At this time, the square of Marineford Fortress was full of Marines. Tens of thousands of elite Marines, the flags of the Marines behind them fluttered in the wind, making noise in the wind. At this time, according to the pre-arranged script, Victor will walk from the center of the square to the preset high platform step by step. Then, he will be crowned on the high platform. Victor doesn't walk very fast, and he has Admiral's standard height. At this time, in addition to Marshal Kong on the high platform, Admiral Sengoku, Admiral Zephyr, Vice Admiral Garp, Vice Admiral Crane and other headquarters Vice Admiral, Marine commanders from G1, G10 fortresses also came. The Titan Vice Admiral stood 50 meters apart. The camera is not only shooting Victor, but also the people in Victor's background board. The world government is creating gods, and it wants to use the awarding ceremony to publicize the power of the world government. Victor finally stepped onto the high platform and came before Sora. In front of the empty space stood a Commodore. Commodore held a square tray in his hand. Inside the tray were a medal, a knife, and Admiral's rank epaulets. Victor. Sora said seriously. Victor stood up straight in front of Sora. Kuang puts the epaulets on Victor, and then puts the medals on Victor. Finally, holding the knife in both hands, he handed it to Victor. After Victor took the knife, he turned around and faced all Marines, audiences and cameras all over the world. He raised the knife above his head with one hand and shouted, "Justice will prevail." After the awarding ceremony, Victor officially became Admiral, and he will also start working on shift. Guarding the Mariajoy, keeping the Holy Land and the Celestial Dragons safe is what every Marine Admiral must do. However, most of the time in this job is to bask in the sun and read newspapers. However, Victor is restless, he has a lot of things to do. As Marine Admiral, he has the authority of Admiral and can place his own people all over Marine. For example, Victor arranged Eric to be the Commodore in the G2 branch, and Kennard to be the Commodore in the G3 branch. These people are all members of the Blue Ocean Club. And after Victor was promoted to Admiral, he transferred them from the dangerous New World so that they would not die in New World. In addition, transferring them to other branches can also develop and strengthen the Blue Ocean Club. As far as Victor is concerned, he is now Admiral, and the need for military exploits is not high. And he needs performance and layout now. Perform in front of the 5 elders while gaining more followers. Wright and Connor were left by their side. Victor handed over Mariajoy's daily patrol duties to the two. The sun was shining brightly, and Victor was lying on a chair, reading a book while lying on the chair. This is his second month at Mariajoy. Reading books in the morning, teaching Wright and others how to practice in the afternoon, and practicing hockey in the evening are Victor's daily routines. In addition, it is to check the letters written to him by members of the Blue Ocean Club from all over the country, and then reply to them. Of course, Victor was dictated and ghostwritten by Wright and Connor. Part of the letter will definitely mention the admiration for Victor, as if it is a fixed format, and then mention their recent work, problems encountered, and bottlenecks. Of course, most of these letter-writing members are disciples of Zephyr, students of Victor. Victor once said that no matter where they were, they could turn to him for help. After reading those letters, Victor will also give them advice and encourage them to continue to persevere and so on. In addition, they will be adjusted to their positions and given some financial assistance. In this way, Victor's reputation in the hearts of members of the Blue Ocean Club will become higher and higher. Moreover, members of the Blue Ocean Club will also worship Victor as a god. They believed following Victor would make them better, and it did. And only Victor can be so selfless, so great to help them. Of course, Victor did so out of selfishness. To be a great leader, one must be admired. The reason why Akainu became the marshal is not convincing, because he is too bad a person, and there are too few people who are willing to follow him. Before you know it, it's almost time for dinner. When Victor was about to put down the book, he heard the Marines yelling, "A boat is coming," and, "It's Angelotti's boat." Angelotti Street. Victor hasn't seen Angelotti since he rescued him and sent him back to Mariajoy. Victor reckoned that Angela Dessen had gone on a trip again and just came back now. Worked at Mariajoy for a month and saw celestial dragons every day. In the eyes of the world, the celestial dragons on Mariajoy are in heaven. However, the celestial dragons are just the opposite. Although they like the identity and power of the celestial dragons, Mariajoy is too boring for them. There is no other fun here except bullying the slaves every day. On the contrary, it is better to do whatever you want in all parts of the world. After a while, Victor met Angelotti-san. Angelotti sat on the back of a tall slave. This slave used to be the admiral army of a kingdom in West Blue, the god of war and hero of the country. Because Wang Quan was on the wrong team when he alternated, he was framed by the new king and eventually became a slave. This type of slave with a prominent past is a favorite of celestial dragons. Driving and enslaving this type of slave can deepen the sense of accomplishment. So, Victor greeted Angela D-san. Angela D-san. Ha ha ha, Victor Admiral. Angela Dishung jumped up excitedly when he saw Victor, and waved to Victor. Victor saved Angela D-san, and his life was hanging by a thread. Therefore, Angela Dessen has a particularly high degree of favorability for Victor. In front of Victor, Angelati's attitude was obviously much better. It seems that you have gained a lot today. Victor glanced at the slaves behind Saint Angelati and said with a smile. This is the slave I just bought, Angela Dessen said with a smile, before turning around and whipping a girl. Ah! The girl who was beaten screamed again and again. Is her voice particularly nice? She is a singer. I bought it for 50 million Baileys. Angela Tishung introduced it triumphantly. The girl not only has a good voice, but also has a graceful figure. After being whipped, the white skin left bloodstains, which aroused pity. As expected of Angela Dean, you have such a good vision, Victor admired. Ha ha ha, Angela Tishung was even more proud, obviously very satisfied with his harvest. Are you guarding Mariajoy now? At this time, Angela Tishung asked. In the past, whenever celestial dragons entered and exited, they encountered Marine Admiral. However, they never greeted Marine Admiral. Therefore, when celestial dragons passed by and saw Victor talking with Angelati, I felt curious. Yes. If there are no special circumstances, then I will stay here for a year, Victor replied. I really want you to come to me. With your protection, I will be able to travel around the world. Angela Tishung felt a little regretful. Although there is no shortage of strong men in CP0, and some of them are strong enough to be admirals, but after 800 years of reproduction, there are many descendants of 19. Can think about it. Victor chatted with Angelati for a while, and then watched Angelati leave. I remember her name is Theria, and she was holding a concert in Sabodi Archipelago 2 months ago. A month ago, she was arrested for attempting to subvert the world government. At this time, Wright whispered, "It's a pity," Connor echoed. Teresa is a singer, her voice and appearance are deeply loved by young people. Marine on Mariajoy has long been numb to it. Wright, Connor and others are slowly getting used to it. In the past, when they performed Buster Call, they would be angry, incomprehensible, and ruthless. But now, they are used to it, because they see this every day. Over the course of a month, they saw slaves trying to escape, whose collars blew up in the process. The neck was shattered. At night, 4 guards, wearing armor sneaked up near Marine's camp. Only by passing through Marine's camp could they reach the elevator and finally leave Mariajoy. These guards are not real guards. Their true identities are slaves. It's just that tonight they finally opened the collars around their necks, and they killed 4 guards, wearing their armor, before escaping here. Keep calm and don't panic. We must be able to escape from here, the leading man said to his companions. The other 3 slaves nodded simultaneously. Come on. Follow me. The leading man was at the forefront, preparing to cross the Marine camp. The 3 followed the man, remaining as calm as possible. At this time, the patrolling Marine found 4 people. Strange. What are they doing so late? The Marines looked at the 4 guards suspiciously. Wright was on duty tonight, and he became suspicious as he watched the 4 guards walking towards the elevator. What's wrong with these people? Is there any important task to enter the Marine camp? Wright thought so in his heart, and then he took the initiative to step forward. As soon as he got close, he smelled blood from the 4 of them. Where are you going? Wright became more suspicious, so he stopped them from asking. We're on a mission. The leading man stood in front of Wright and said that he had a strong smell of blood on his body. Executing the mission? Wright circled around the 4 of them, and then said, "Wait here, let me check first." The leading man knew that he was going to be exposed, so he became vicious and drew the sword at his waist. Seeing this, Wright couldn't help sneering, and clenched his saber tightly in his hand. The leading man swung his sword and slashed. His sword is fast, and his foot is very stable, and the edge of the sword is unstoppable. Still a master. Wright frowned. But Wright's reaction was also very fast, and he quickly dodged the leading man's sword sideways. Immediately, the saber in Wright's hand slashed fiercely at the chest of the leading man. The sword in the leading man's hand immediately stuck to the sword in Wright's hand. Then, With the sword in the leading man's hand spinning, he wanted to break Wright's wrist. Not only the sword skills are superb, but also the combat experience is rich. Wright has followed Victor for so long, and his strength has been greatly improved, but the strength of the man in front of him is not inferior to him. Although the leading man's swordsmanship is fast, accurate, and ruthless, Wright is not weak. He first took a step back to avoid the attack, and before the lead man could advance, he raised his left hand and shot the finger pistol with a blow. The air bullet shot at the forehead of the leading man. The leading man was shocked, gave up chasing, and dodged to dodge. After Wright adjusted, his body suddenly jumped up and kicked the leading man's chest. The leading man retreated 3 steps in a row before barely stopping his figure. However, Wright had already caught up to him. With a sound of metal impact, Wright's saber slashed on the leading man's sword. This time, the leading man didn't block the saber, and the saber wrapped around the armor cut off his sword. However, the right hand of the leading man firmly grasped the blade of the saber. Blood flowed from the palm. The leading man could only watch helplessly as the saber pierced his heart bit by bit. "Please, let us go." At this time, a pitiful voice sounded. A fake guard was seen taking off his helmet. It is the female singer Teresa who was purchased by Angela Tisson. What's going on? At this time, many Marines rushed over one after another, including Connor. Connor also saw Daria. He took off the helmet of the leading man and found that he was the Mount of Saint Angelati. "Please, let us go, we were all framed, we did not commit a crime." Treya raised her head, her sapphire-like eyes begged Wright, Connor and others. With that lovely and pitiful appearance, even a man would soften his heart. Connor whispered, "What should I do? This is the first time they have dealt with this kind of thing. Although I can see the slaves running away, I never run to them." Wright frowned. Although he liked Teresa's song, he couldn't cause trouble for Victor, let alone implicate his family and companions. He clenched his fists, "Leave it to the agents." When Treya heard this, her face turned pale with fright. She knew what it meant to be taken back. They will be tortured, life would be worse than death. "Please, please." Treya begged, she kowtowed so hard that her head was broken. "Right," Connor turned around, then waved his hand, "Send them back." Reality makes people grow fast. Wright and Connor are no exception. Since coming to Mariajoy, they have witnessed human tragedy every day. This is just a holy place for celestial dragons. For slaves, it is purgatory. Their justice has been trampled on by reality, and their blood has been completely cooled. What is justice and what is evil? If we eradicate evil and promote good, it is justice to eradicate the strong and support the weak. Trampling life is evil if it bullies the weak. The world government and world nobles of Mariajoy are undoubtedly the greatest evil in the world. However, Marine needs to obey the orders of the world government to protect the safety of celestial dragons. This is the greatest irony of justice. At some point, Victor came to Wright and Connor, and he patted the shoulders of the two, "Help them out." "What?" Wright and Connor froze for a moment. Victor said with a deadpan expression, "We do what we can within our own capabilities, without leaving any regrets, and that is justice." "I see." Wright suddenly understood. He finally understood Victor's justice. Justice beyond the scope of one's own ability is naive and unrealistic. "Okay. I'm going to rest." Victor looked at Wright and the others with relief. They had finally matured. Back in his room, after Victor sat down cross-legged, he took a knife, poured armament hockey into the knife, and tempered it into a black knife. Anyway, idle is idle. Not only can you practice armament hockey, but you can also use the black knife as a gift, which will be given to outstanding members of the Blue Ocean Society in the future to encourage them to continue to improve. They should cherish the weapons created and bestowed by the god. See Circle Calendar 1496. In the morning, Victor sat on the deck chair as usual, ready to read the newspaper. Today's newspaper headlines are still Bullet. Bullet has been active since leaving the Roger Pirates. And today's news is very interesting. After the two pirate supernovas, Bullet and Locke, meet, a fierce battle ensues. The result was a close call. Victor remembers that Bullet and Rayleigh were on par. So does the current clock doll have the same strength as Rayleigh? After flipping through the news on the front page, Victor went on to read other news. About Roger. Marine encounters Roger in Alabasta, only to be run off by Roger. Whitebeard and Roger are about to meet, and the next thing is that Odin boarded Roger's boat and helped Roger translate the historical text. Victor muttered to himself. In fact, he still wanted to find Roger. Although Roger is terminally ill, Roger is not weak now. If Roger can be defeated head-on, then his reputation can be compared with Garp. However, this is just his competitive spirit. Although prestige can bring power, it is also part of Victor's plan to use Roger's hand to start the era of great pirates and make profits from it. As for news about Kaido, Charlotte Linlin and others, Victor is not very interested. The Roger pirates encountered the Whitebeard pirates, and a fierce conflict broke out between the two sides, and the battle lasted for 3 days and 3 nights. As night fell, the entire island was in a mess, as if it was the end of the world. However, the bonfire on the beach, the men sitting around the bonfire, although many of them have wounds, bandages and bloodlines wrapped around their bodies, but their faces are full of happiness. Obviously, they were still fighting for life and death just now.
Ha 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 eh. Hoo la 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 la. Whitebeard, Roger, Kozuki, Odin and others sat on the ground, holding wine, eating meat, and laughing heartily. Their laughter is very contagious and drives the people around them.
Shanks and Buggy were also affected. They were more free and enjoyed the banquet wholeheartedly. The firelight illuminates the faces of Roger, Whitebeard and others. They are the heroes of the sea, and now driven by the times, they have reached the apex of the times. In the past, when they met each other, there would always be a fight. However, it is in the fighting again and again that the recognition of each other is born, which is an emotion that transcends friendship. While drinking and chatting, Roger said to Whitebeard and others, "I want to go to the end of the world, but no matter how I try, I can't reach the final island." Whitebeard and the others listened quietly. As a member of the Rock's pirate group, Whitebeard has also heard a little about the final land. Later, I learned that I need to pass 4 red road signs in the historical text to point to the final place. Although I can successfully find the historical text by listening to the voice of all things, I can't understand the text on the historical text. Roger's face was full of displeasure. Whitebeard and others have also encountered historical texts, and the text on the historical texts has origins with the Kozuki family. Kozuki Odin said, "I can understand it. If you need translation, I can help you." The purpose of Kozuki Odin going to sea is to let Wano Kuni start the country. However, when he encountered the historical text, he understood that the key to the founding of Wano Kuni lies in those historical events. Therefore, he also wanted to uncover the history of 800 years ago. Upon hearing this, Roger immediately put down his wineglass, with excitement in his eyes. He turned serious, looked at Whitebeard, and made a request. "Although it is very rude, I would like to invite Odin to my ship, and I will go to Raftel, the final place." At this moment, the smile on Whitebeard's face froze upon hearing this. Kozuki Odin was also stunned, going so far as to openly poach someone. And Kozuki Odin is the captain of the 2nd Division of the Whitebeard Pirates. "You bastard." Whitebeard's forehead was bulging with veins. Odin has been on the boat for so long, and the relationship between the two has become like that of family members. He regards Odin as his younger brother and witnessed the birth of Momonosuke. 1 year is fine, just walk with us, please. Roger faced the angry Whitebeard, but he didn't give in at all. He insisted on his request. At the same time, he looked at Odin and lowered his head. The words are sincere, and at the same time, with the determination to succeed. "You bastard." Whitebeard didn't know how to answer. Kozuki Odin admires Roger. Roger's strength is far above him, but at this moment, he can ask him with this attitude. So, Kozuki Odin said to Whitebeard, "Let me go and come back in a year." Whitebeard scowled, "Whatever you want." Light met Odin, Kozuki and others boarded Roger's ship, and bid farewell to the Whitebeard pirates. The news that Roger pirates had one more samurai reached 5 elders soon after. Through the newspaper, Victor learned that Roger and his gang had been to the capital of 7 Waters, and successfully got rid of Marine. However, I believe that 5 elders can't sit still now. If Roger really made it to the final place, then the truth of history will be revealed. Just as Victor expected, the 5 elders summoned him. Victor came between the rites. The 5 elders looked at Victor. Garp has failed again. The straight-haired old man said to Victor. We want you to catch Roger. The old man with glasses continued. The blonde old man stared at Victor. CP0 will assist you. How many more people do you need? It's up to you to choose. Listening to the words of the 5 elders, Victor knew that Roger had touched the sensitive point of the world government. I'll do my best, Victor replied. Yeah. 5 elders nodded. Naval headquarters made multiple snaps and Garp cornered Roger several times. However, Roger seems to be sheltered by luck, and he can turn danger into good fortune every time and escape from birth. This is already metaphysics. When the 5 elders summoned Victor, they also gave Sengoku an order to let Sengoku replace Victor and guard Mariajoy. Before the elevator, Victor said to Sengoku, Sengoku uncle, the job of guarding here is left to you. Sengoku remained expressionless, and just reminded Victor, pay attention to weather and geographical factors. In the process of capturing Roger, Sengoku and others had some rich failure experience. For example, in the Battle of Edwall, Roger was surrounded by the Golden Lion. As a result, a sudden storm came, not only saving Roger, but also destroying half of the Golden Lion fleet. Similar things don't just happen to Golden Lion. Both Sengoku and Garp come across quite a few. It's just evil. I will treat it with caution. Victor replied. Yeah. Sengoku nodded. Immediately, Victor turned and entered the lift, and took the lift away from Mariajoy. Sengoku looked at the back of Victor going away, then turned to look in the direction of Pangu City. It's been a long time since he guarded Mariajoy. And the reason why 5 elders did this is to imply that he wants to replace him with Victor? Sengoku was expressionless just now, but when he thought of some possibility, veins appeared on his forehead and he clenched his fists. His justice is the justice of the king, and it is only natural to take over as the marshal and lead the marine. However, not necessarily anymore. Pangu City, between the powers. What if Victor captures Roger? Then Sengoku or Victor, who is more suitable to lead marine? If you only talk about strength and ability, Victor is more suitable. Victor is too selfish, not as easy to control as Sengoku. Sengoku can check and balance the sea, which is a talent that Victor does not have. However, having them compete is more important than who commands marine. The 5 elders chatted and couldn't help laughing. Power tactics are an essential skill for those in power. If Garp is willing to promote Admiral, then Garp will be Sengoku's competition. In the process of competition, the relatively weaker side needs to rely more on the support of 5 elders. The 5 elders manipulated Marine to cause discord within Marine, which was their routine. After all, the United Marine is also a threat to the world government. Marineford, Naval Headquarters. Victor is sitting in his Admiral office. This is his first time working in Admiral's office. Victor took out his cigarette and lay down on the chair with his feet up on the desk. He smoked and looked out the window. At this moment, a Vice Admiral staff officer walked out of the office, knocked on the door, and saluted Victor. Victor Admiral, the information has been collected and can now report to you. Hearing this, Victor resumed his normal sitting position. Come in. Victor called out the door. Mike Vice Admiral walked in. Mike Vice Admiral was single-handedly promoted by Sengoku to be responsible for intelligence analysis and collation. Now Victor and Sengoku are exchanging jobs. Therefore, Mike reports to Victor according to Sengoku's instructions. We did not find Roger and his gang in Sabodi Archipelago. According to the analysis of the staff, Roger and his gang may have gone to the Fishman Island. Mike Vice Admiral replied. After listening to the report, Victor said, Where's the eyeliner of the Fishman Island? If Roger enters the Fishman Island, it's impossible not to see it. Mike Vice Admiral replied. No discoveries so far. Okay, you go out first. After Victor finished speaking, he sent Mike Vice Admiral to leave. Mike Vice Admiral frowned, but after thinking about it, forget it. If Victor and Sengoku are equally capable, then there must have been a judgment. Conversely, if Victor's judgment is affected by his own judgment, it will affect the relationship between them instead. Mike Vice Admiral is not willing to do the hard work. What's more, he is not Victor's subordinate. After Mike Vice Admiral left, Victor picked up the microphone, ready to use the fortress internal broadcast to announce. He's going to hold a combat seminar. The new official took office with 3 fires. Marine Admiral's job is not only to fight and kill, but also to command his subordinates. Victor can also use it to improve his presence at naval headquarters. Please all the Vice Admiral, Rear Admiral, and Commodore in the headquarters to the second war room for a meeting. Please all the Vice Admiral, Rear Admiral, and Commodore in the headquarters to the second war room for a meeting. At this time, Vice Admiral and others also put down their work after hearing Victor's broadcast, and went to the second war room. A few minutes later, the second war room was already full of people. A general at the Commodore level doesn't even have a seat. After Victor sat down, in front of everyone, he unhurriedly lit a cigar, took a puff slowly, and then said, "I just accepted the order of 5 elders and took over the job of hunting Roger. Let Roger escape again and again, and Marine is about to become a laughing stock. Of course, I know this has nothing to do with you." Victor looked at everyone present calmly. Among them, he and others are still his elders. Victor said, "However, I can understand that the world government and the people of the world can't understand. They only think that Marine is trash, and they have nothing to do with Roger. So." Victor bit his cigar and slapped his hands on the table vigorously. With a fierce look in his eyes, he said viciously, "Even if you can't catch Roger, you must cut off his hands and feet. Be vicious. Let Roger not dare to appear in the open sea. Let them hide like mice. Let them fear the justice of Marine." Victor said to everyone, "I hope you can do it, especially the combat troops. If Roger and his gang are allowed to retreat unscathed, then I suggest you transfer to the logistics department. A combat meeting is actually a head start. Victor is still very young, he is only in his early 20s. Although he is very strong, most generals in this department don't think he has the ability to command. Therefore, Victor needs to stand up and tell everyone the difference between him and Sengoku." He and others listened to Victor's solo show. Victor's meaning: if you can't catch Roger, you can catch the people around Roger. You can't even catch the people around Roger. In the marshal's office, although Sora did not attend the meeting, the war room was monitored, and he could hear the whole meeting. The difference between Victor and Sengoku is indeed huge. This is the feeling of emptiness. However, Sora could understand Victor. In his view, Victor has always wanted to achieve the goal of purifying the sea. Therefore, he will do his best to promote and change Marine. The Blue Ocean Club was established for this purpose. Kuang also learned that many students who graduated from naval headquarters participated in the Blue Ocean Club. Boo boo boo. Boo boo boo. At this time, the phone on the empty table rang. Kuang picked up the microphone. "It's Commander Glenn." Glenn said to Kuang, "Come to my office, I have something to tell you." Kuang hummed. When Sengoku was in the past, a lot of work has been handed over to Sengoku. Therefore, although Kuang is still the marshal, many things do not require him to do it himself. Kuang left Marineford for Mariajoy. At this time, a special visitor came to Victor's office at CP0. The visitor is about 2.8 meters tall, a head shorter than Victor. Wearing an iconic white suit and a white mask with 2 blood-colored tear stains on his face, the first impression he gave was that it was weird. "This is the first time I've come into contact with a Marine below the Marshal." CP0 agent to Victor. Victor's face was expressionless. CP0 is notoriously bad-tempered. Akainu was confronted by Lu Chi face to face. But because they are directly under the Celestial Dragons, they are defiant. However, there is not much difference between Marshal Marine and Admiral. You both performed very well in disappointing people. Seeing that Victor did not respond, the CP0 agent approached Victor and continued to provoke Victor. CP0 hates Marine, because they think they have done more than Marine. However, it was Marine who enjoyed the flowers, applause and adoration. And they can only wear masks. Even on the day they die, no one will know their true identities. Such a difference in identity made them psychologically distorted. "Are you really a CP0 agent?" At this time, Victor suddenly spoke. CP0 agent looked puzzled. "I suspect that you are faked by a pirate." Victor suddenly reached out and grabbed the latter's neck. "5 elders sent CP0 to assist me, not to do redundant things, so, if necessary, then I will take your head back to Mariajoy and find Angie Letty-san verify your identity. With the force of Victor's fingers, CP0 agent could feel that his neck would be crushed in an instant. This is a death warning. Victor is different from Akainu. Victor understands the rules of the game. The biggest reliance of CP0 is celestial dragons. In front of celestial dragons, they are all well-behaved. And Victor is very familiar with Angelati, and can use celestial dragons to clean up the agents in front of him. Gerald was strangled. He knew Victor was only threatening him. Victor certainly wouldn't kill him. However, in front of Victor, under his control, Gerard felt too small. Just like a child, there is no resistance. HMPH. Victor let go, and Gerald finally recovered his breath. Cough cough cough. Hearing Gerard's cough, Victor snorted coldly. Well, I hope to hear some useful information. Victor sat down, crossed his feet and said, "This guy is really arrogant. However, he has the capital of arrogance. The human body is the most honest. When the weak face the strong, as long as there is no problem with their brains, they will show obedience. Roger's gang was picked up in the Sabodi archipelago. I suspect they are still in the Sabodi archipelago." Gerald replied. "What are you waiting for?" Victor took out the golden phone bug. "What are you going to do?" Seeing this, Gerald was taken aback on the spot, and he hurriedly asked. "Of course it is to gather troops and wipe out all the villains in the Sabodi archipelago." Victor said calmly. "Are you crazy? That's in the Sabodi archipelago, and you're trying to start a buster call in the Sabodi archipelago." Under the mask, Gerald was dumbfounded. Crazy, simply crazy. If the information you provided is correct, now is the best time to eliminate Roger. Even if the information is wrong, the pirates in the Sabodi archipelago and the outlaws in the gray area are also cancers that need to be eradicated. Victor snorted softly and said, "Also, don't worry about hurting the nobles of the world. Before starting to act, I will give you enough time to evacuate the nobles of the world safely." Victor's words left Gerard speechless. He could tell that Victor wanted to take advantage of Roger's affairs and use this opportunity to deal with the evil forces of the Sabodi archipelago. Gerald knew Victor before he met him. Know Victor's dream. Now, Gerald believes that as long as Victor has enough power, he will decisively implement his plan. "Okay. I'm Marine Admiral and I'm authorized to make buster calls." Victor picked up the microphone of the golden phone bug. "In 24 hours, target Sabodi archipelago." At this time, Victor looked at Gerald again. "As the troops directly under the world's nobles, you can act now." "You." Gerald turned and left the office. He needs to tell 5 elders about Buster Call. At the same time, the Vice Admirals of Naval Headquarters have received orders from Buster Call. At this time, G2 grams, 3 grams, 4 grams, 6 grams, 7 grams, 8 and other directly subordinate branches are already gathering troops. Naval Headquarters is also building up forces. 5 Vice Admirals, 10 Rear Admirals, 10 large warships, and 10,000 elite sailors. Inside the Marshal's office, Sora was still a little surprised when he heard the unique build-up alarm of Buster Call, thinking, "Did Victor find Roger so quickly? If it wasn't for Roger, it wouldn't be Buster Call. Just where will Roger and his gang be hiding? If it is a town with a lot of people, the people in the town will also be unlucky. After all, shells are ruthless, and bullets have no eyes." At this time, Suru walked into the empty office. "Victor is so messed up," Crane said to Kong. "If Roger can be caught, it will be worth paying a certain price." Kong shook his head and said, he thought Crane couldn't bear it. After all, when the Buster Call was activated, many innocent people would be affected. However, everything comes with a price. Kong believes that compared with capturing Roger, the price paid is acceptable. Victor is going to start a Buster Call in the Sabodi archipelago. Crane said to Kong. "What did you say?" Sora stood up, startled. Sabodi archipelago is more than just the gathering place for the first half of the Grand Line. At the same time, a large population lives on the island. Relatives of world government officials were also included. Not only that, Sabodi archipelago is also the playground of the world's nobles, and it is the place where the world's nobles go to play most often. Once the Buster Call is executed, The result will be no grass and dead bodies everywhere. Sora realized the seriousness of the situation, so he immediately picked up the phone bug and contacted Victor. Come to my office. The 5 elders were also taken aback when Kuang contacted Victor. Gerard informed the 5 elders of Victor's actions. Victor is such a mess. It's possible to capture Roger, but the price is too high. Tell him immediately and make him stop. If a buster call is launched against the Sabaody archipelago, it will be a stain on the world government. It's not easy to hide this matter. 5 elders had a book on their minds. They know what they can and cannot do. While they have the ability to wipe anyone from the world, there are downsides and costs to consider. Once the news of the destruction of the Sabaody archipelago spreads, the whole world will be shocked. Sabaody archipelago is a supercity with a huge population, which is not comparable to a small country. Destroying such a large city and killing so many people in one go, how should the whole world view the world government? The member countries of the world government will also worry. The world government has spent a lot of manpower and material resources in order to conceal the blankness of 800 years ago for 100 years. Now, no more wiping Victor's ass. Inside the marshal's office. Sora and Victor face to face. Cancel buster call now. Sora said to Victor. From the information provided by CP0, I think it is very likely that Roger is hiding in the Sabaody archipelago. Get rid of Roger, isn't that what the world government wants? Victor replied calmly, not thinking of canceling the buster call at all. I order you as marshal. Sora raised his voice. Victor remained expressionless. I'm sorry, capturing Roger is a task assigned to me by the 5 elders. Boo boo boo. Boo boo boo. Just as Sora was about to speak, the phone bug in Victor's arms started calling. Victor, terminate buster call immediately. The straight-haired old man of one of the 5 elders said seriously. Yes. Victor didn't refuse this time. We all know your determination to catch Roger, but it still depends on the occasion, understand? The old man with white straight hair softened his tone. Victor is not the same as Akainu. Akainu will contradict the 5 elders. However, Victor is a man who obeys. 5 elders thought Victor was reliable and manageable. At least they thought they could control Victor. Understood. Victor replied. If you suspect that Roger is hiding in the Sabaody archipelago, then you can conduct a search and we will give you 3 days. The 5 elders also counted as saving face for Victor. Didn't Victor want to fight against the pirates and get rid of those cancerous tumors? Then give him a chance. Controlling the strong is also part of the art of power. After finishing the call, Victor calmly smoked a cigarette. As he had guessed, 5 elders had a condition for launching Buster Call. 5 elders launched Buster Call only for less populated areas. Really want to launch a Buster Call to Sabaody Archipelago? That's impossible to enforce. World government is a legal government after all. Even if it is bad in its bones, it is also worried about the direction of public opinion. After all, the world government is the party of justice. There is no reason why massacres cannot be carried out. Send an order to block the coastline of the Sabaody archipelago, and the docks on the island will also be blocked. Without my order, no ship can release the Sabaody archipelago. In addition, in areas 1 to 29, everyone will be arrested, and if they encounter resistance, they will be executed immediately. In the area from 1 to 29, there are human trafficking shops, human auctions, illegal areas, etc. The area from 50 to 59 is no exception. Everyone in the ship are all locked up by me. If you encounter resistance, then feel the ground. In the area from 50 to 59, there are many shipyards and coating craftsmen. Bubble Park, as well as specialty shops, tourist streets, and hotel streets, are the same. Grab anyone you see. In short, 3 days. I'll give you 3 days to check all the people on the Sabaody archipelago. All fugitives with criminal records, whether they are pirates or other criminals, will be arrested and sent to Eni's lobby for trial. Notify Eni's lobby to send someone to the dock to receive. Victor uses the golden phone bug to issue a terrible order to the troops involved in the Buster Call. This workload is simply too great. It can't be done in 3 days. The Vice Admiral commanders of the various branches who were planning to participate in the Buster Call were speechless for a while. Victor's approach is too crazy. However, who let Victor be Admiral. Now that Victor has issued an order, they can only accept and execute the order. Sabaody Archipelago. In the population auction is in progress. Saint Roswald kept raising the sign in his hand. He wanted to buy a bit too many slaves today. Especially some pirates who offer a reward of tens of millions of Baileys. Saint Roswald especially likes to collect them and use them as mounts, wantonly trampling on their dignity. In addition, Saint Roswald's son, Charles Rose Street, likes mermaids. There are also mermaids in today's auction, and he is also planning to buy them. At this time, an agent in a white suit came to Saint Roswald and said to him, "His Royal Highness, please return to Mariajoy as soon as possible." Huh. Saint Roswald showed a displeased expression. He was happy with the purchase. "That's what 5 elders asked for," added CP0. HMPH. Saint Roswald heard that it was 5 elders. Although his face was displeased, he still got up from his seat. Not only in the population auction, but in many places in Sabaody Archipelago, celestial dragons left Sabaody Archipelago quickly under the notice of CP0. From now on, Sabaody Archipelago can only enter, not exit. Any ship that tries to leave the Sabaody Archipelago will be sunk. Victor was on deck, broadcasting his orders to the fleet. At this time, the warships are already lined up. In addition to the 10 warships brought by Buster Call, Victor transferred more than 20 ships from the headquarters and surrounding branches. Together with the Marines stationed by the Sabaody Archipelago, Victor has mobilized nearly 30,000 troops. Of course, he can transfer troops again. However, it takes time, and because too many troops are deployed, there will be a vacuum in the governance of the sea, and it is easy for pirates to take advantage of the loopholes. Hurry up, move faster. At this time, the Marine on the Sabaody Archipelago has rushed into areas 1 to 29, and their order is to arrest people. They catch anyone they see. This is an order from Victor. Such an order caused an uproar in the Sabaody Archipelago. At this time, in a casino, the guests in the casino were arrested by Marine before they could figure out the situation. The shining saber rested on his neck, and the cold muzzle of the gun pressed against his forehead. "If you resist, you will be executed on the spot. I want to see Troy Reese Commodore. We are friends. Trust Reese Commodore, he wouldn't do that to a friend." The casino boss was pinned to the ground with his face pressed against the ground, but he still protested to Marine as loud as he could. Reese Commodore in his mouth as the garrison commander of the Sabaody Archipelago. Marine accepting bribes doesn't just happen in 4 seas. As long as there is no substantive evidence, no one deliberately investigates. This is the unspoken rule of naval headquarters from top to bottom. At this time, Troy Reese Commodore did not dare to get close to the briber. "If you don't cooperate, you will be executed on the spot. Not one can be let go." Troy Reese commanded the garrison and rushed into the shops. This also includes Shaki's bar. It's just that Shaki's bar is empty now. Where did the lady boss go? Some Marines have been to Shaki's shop before and know Shaki is a beauty. At the same time, Shaki was behind a fence, observing the street. She couldn't understand what happened today, because things like this have never happened before. Now, though, Marine appears to be looking for someone. "Is it looking for Roger and Rayleigh?" Shaki murmured. Of course she couldn't sit idly by. At this time, Victor has landed with a large group of sailors. Report. Wright came to Victor, and he said to Victor, "Reese Commodore has arrested nearly 1,000 people, but there are still many people who escaped," and he asked for support. There are only 5,000 people in Tuo Reese, and it is indeed a tight manpower. Don't worry. Victor didn't send reinforcements immediately. At this time, there was a sound of bombardment in the distance. On the distant sea, a cargo ship trying to break out was hit by Marines' naval guns, and began to burn, and finally sank into the sea. Blue blue. Blue blue. At this time, the phone bug in Connor's hand was beeping. Connor hands the phone bug to Victor. Victor picked up the microphone. The phone bug imitated Eric's voice. "Master Victor, we have taken control of the shipyard, but there are too many people to arrest. According to Victor's order, both the boatman and the boatman must be arrested." So Eric asked Victor for reinforcements. Not only Eric, Kennard's situation is similar. Kennard is now located on Hotel Street. There are dragons and snakes in the hotel street. Many of them are wanted criminals. In order to escape the pursuit of Marine, these wanted criminals lit the room on the spot and caused a fire. They tried to take advantage of the chaos to escape. At this time, Victor said to Connor, "Contact Eni's lobby, let them send a judicial ship over, and take all suspicious people to Eni's lobby first." Yes. Connor immediately contacted Eni's lobby. Is Marine crazy? This is the first time I've seen such a thing. Mom. What are they doing? Shish, keep your voice down, Marine is catching bad guys. In the area 1 to 29 of Sabodi Archipelago, dragons and snakes are mixed in this area. Not only are there many wanted criminals lurking, there are also a large number of civilians living here. Therefore, when Marine arrests people, it usually starts along the street first. Including the population auction, it is hard to escape. Sir, we are not pirates, nor are we wanted criminals. All the slaves here have been approved and are legal and compliant. Hughes, the manager of the population auction, and the staff were all suppressed on the ground. Hughes is trying to communicate. He has worked here for more than 30 years, serving senior officials of the world government, nobles from various countries, wealthy businessmen, and even the supreme world nobles. Especially the nobles of the world are satisfied with his service. However, he never dreamed that the low-ranking sailor he despised the most would actually push him to the ground. What a humiliation. Shut up. Seaman recruit Leon took the gun and stuffed the barrel into Hughes' mouth. He had long since disliked these people. Take this opportunity today to teach this group of people a lesson. Hughes couldn't make a sound. At this time, a team of Marines came over. This team of Marines wore the badge of the Blue Ocean Club on their chests, uniformly wore white gloves, high military boots, and swords around their waists. They walked aggressively and superiorly. The leading major asked, "Have you found any suspicious persons?" "No discovery yet." Hughes' immediate supervisor, Captain Mark, replied. "Continue to search." After the major finished speaking, he left with his head held high. "Yes." Captain Mark replied. "Who are they?" A sea soldier behind Leon asked in a low voice. "Did you see the badges they wear on their chests?" "The Blue Ocean Society, the troops directly under Schwanma Admiral." Someone replied. "Directly under the troops? Don't you know? As long as you join the Blue Ocean Club, it will be much easier to get promoted, and you can go to any position in any army." "Then where can I join? Can I join the Blue Ocean Club?" "To recommend people, I also heard that it has become stricter now, and personal information needs to be reviewed." "Does our army have Blue Sea Clubs?" "I heard that Major Ron belongs to the Blue Ocean Club." No wonder he went from ensign to major in less than a year. The Marines were discussing in private. After listening to Leon, he was full of curiosity about the Blue Ocean Society. At the same time, Ron was counting the money found in the population auction. This large sum of money is naturally going to Victor. Of course, Ron will also keep a sum of money for himself. "Sir, you have a total of 3.5 billion Baileys in cash, and this time you are going to be promoted again," Ron's Lieutenant House said with a smile. Ron nodded, and crossed out a 5 from the 3.5 billion on the ledger. "Hand over 3 billion Baileys. And the 500 million Baileys, Ron will not take it all alone, he will distribute it to his subordinates. This is the unspoken rule within Blue Ocean Club." Ron was self-aware, he knew he couldn't go to the front line. However, he still has the ability to contribute to the Blue Ocean Club and Victor. Only those who can contribute to Victor and land high can be promoted quickly. Shaki came to an abandoned shipyard. Marine searched here, and searched 3 times. However, Marine did not find the whereabouts of Roger and others. After confirming that there were indeed no suspicious persons here, Marine left. Shaki pulled out the phone bug. "It's time to come out," Shaki said. After a while, the ceiling of the dock slowly opened. Roger and others jumped down from above. "Are they gone?" After jumping down, Roger asked while patting the dust off his body. "The cunning rabbit has 3 caves. This is one of Shaki's hideouts." Because of his relationship with Rayleigh, Shaki provided Roger and his gang with refuge here. "It's early," Shaki replied. "Do you know how long it will take?" Rayleigh asked. Shaki smoked and said, 3 days. Shaki also has informants within Marine. Then, Shaki added, it was supposed to launch a buster call, but it was terminated. It's really enough nonsense. Roger couldn't help laughing out loud when he heard this. In this environment, you can still laugh so happily. There are only a very few people such as Roger. Shaki reminded. You stay here for 3 days, and I will arrange for you to leave after confirming safety. After Shaki left the dock, she came to another stronghold of hers. An ordinary residential building. Big sister. A youth opens the door for Shaki. The young man is called Frank. He was rescued by Shaki 10 years ago. He has been collecting information for Shaki as an ordinary resident. The identities and families of ordinary residents are a very good cover. Shaki entered the room. Frank's wife and children are preparing lunch in the kitchen. Shaki said hello to Frank's wife and children, and went straight to the attic. Big sister. Frank said to Shaki. Big sister, Marine will implement a foot ban later, and search residential areas. Anyone who violates the foot ban and appears outdoors will be arrested. Frank's brother-in-law Brent was serving in the Marine, and Brent had just told Frank to stay at home and not run around. Confinement order? Shaki took a deep drag on his cigarette and murmured, that's crazy. Sure enough, it wasn't long before the Saboti Archipelago's radio started ringing. After 1 hour, a stay-at-home order is imposed. No one is allowed to leave the premises. Those who violate the foot ban and appear outdoors will be arrested as wanted criminals. Repeat. After 1 hour, a stay-at-home order is imposed. No one is allowed to leave the premises. Those who violate the foot ban and appear outdoors will be arrested as wanted criminals. At this moment, the sailors of the brigade appeared on the streets in neat steps. They were divided into 2 columns and stood on either side of the street. Victor appears on the street. The residents of the houses on both sides of the street are looking at Victor. At this moment, the street seemed to be cleared. And, quietly, if you don't return home within an hour, you will be arrested. Those who were arrested earlier have now been sent to the judicial ship and sent to Ini's lobby in batches. Shaki is in the attic, watching Victor secretly. At this moment, Victor suddenly raised his head and looked in the direction of the attic. The attic curtains are still moving, and Shaki is hiding behind the wall, his heart beating fast. He is really too dangerous. HMPH. Victor let out a cold snort. No gaze that stares at him can escape his perception. However, Victor didn't bother to arrest Shaki. Making such a big noise in Saboti Archipelago today is just to shape his character. Resolutely and thoroughly eradicate evil. This will give him a very high reputation. Whether it is inside the Marine or in the hearts of the people. For the vast majority of the people, they hate and fear pirates. Therefore, Victor can win the support of ordinary people by eradicating evil with such great efforts. There is no doubt that today will be a grand show. Use the opportunity of hunting Roger to show the world your determination and courage. The gray income found today is also a considerable amount. Victor can be said to have gained both fame and fortune, and he made a lot of money. At this time, there was a huge explosion not far away. Victor was smoking a cigarette calmly. After a while, Connor came over and said beside Victor, it's the direction of the hospital, Rodney is over there. The Rodney that Connor mentioned was his classmate of the same class and the most potential member of the Blue Ocean Club, which was appreciated by Victor. Victor heard the words, but his face was expressionless, and he continued to follow the original route to Soap Bubble Park. There is a large square in Soap Bubble Park, which is suitable as an execution ground. Victor is ready to be here, ready for stage 2. In the hospital, doctors, nurses, and patients were all hiding in the wards, and they screamed with frightened expressions on their faces. At this time, a one-armed middle-aged man with a cane was surrounded by hundreds of Marines. After a while, Marine naturally parted ways. A Marine colonel stepped forward slowly. The colonel has a cropped head, a neat suit, white gloves on his hands, high military boots on his feet, and the logo of Blue Ocean Club on his chest. Boatman Roll, who was most recently seen on Vidu Island in New World, then challenged Roger and failed, losing a leg and a hand. The colonel's name was Rodney. Unlike Wright and Connor, Rodney is a very withdrawn person. He doesn't like to deal with others and is used to being alone, so he is not very popular. Although Rodney was one of the best students in his class, he never got a chance to perform. He didn't join the Blue Ocean Club until Wright invited him, and was promoted to colonel by Victor because of his consecutive military exploits. Rodney is currently serving in the G2 branch. As long as he continues to gain military exploits, his future is limitless. At least in the eyes of most members of the Blue Ocean Club, with Victor as his backer, Rodney might also be the commander of G2. However, the real reason why Rodney is willing to join the Blue Ocean Club. Because of Victor's goal. As it happens, Rodney has the same goal. You have found the wrong person. There is no boatman Luo here. Luo lost his left hand and left foot, his internal organs were damaged, and his strength was not even a single one. If it was his peak period, he would not pay attention to the Marine in front of him at all. Don't think that after retiring, the sins you committed can be written off. Rodney said coldly, the ghosts killed by you are waiting for you at Santuchuan. You guys are forcing me to kill people. As soon as Luo finished speaking, the crutch in his hand was thrown backwards, hitting a Marine captain just in the head. The Marine captain was hit in the head, blood spurting out. It's a pity that his body is not as good as before. If it was in the past, and the weapon was still his iron ore, then the captain's head must have been smashed into tofu. However, the moment Roll shot, Rodney also rushed over. Rodney's speed was very fast, he stepped out continuously, and only his afterimage appeared in front of his eyes. Call out! Call out! Call out! Roll was startled, he jumped back with one foot, and in the next second, he narrowly avoided Rodney's kick. However, the toe of Rodney's shoe still brushed Roll's brow bone. The brow bone was cut open, blood flowed out, and the world in Rodney's eyes was stained red. Before Roll landed and wiped off the blood, Rodney shot finger pistol with another blow from his right hand. The air bullet hit Roll's left knee. The pierced left leg instantly lost its ability to support. Roll collapsed on the aisle in embarrassment. The surrounding Marines swarmed up, the knives and forks grabbed Roll's neck, and the muzzle of the gun pressed his head. Boom. Just then, there was an explosion outside the window. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. If you don't get out of the way, I will blow them up. At this time, a man with a bomb strapped to his body took dozens of medical staff, as well as patients and their family members hostage. He wanted to use the hostages around him to forcibly open a path. The nearby Marines were holding knives and guns, and their muzzles were aimed at the men, but they were somewhat cautious. Rodney took out a thick wanted warrant and found the man's name. Sandy, the bomb expert, offers a reward of 46 million Baileys. Rodney took the rifle of the sailor beside him and aimed at Sandy. Colonel Rodney, you can't do this, a Marine lieutenant colonel next to Rodney was about to remind him. Rodney, however, had already shot. Boom. The bullet hit Sandy in the eye and flew out of the back of Sandy's head. Although Sandy was shot through the head, he detonated the bomb at the last moment. Boom. This time the explosion killed all Sandy and the hostages, and all the glass of the surrounding buildings was shattered. The Marine surrounding Sandy was also blown away by the impact, and many people were injured. Rodney returned the rifle and went downstairs without looking back. When he was a child, he witnessed the pirates using the whole village as hostages to force Marine to lay down his weapons. As a result, the Marines who put down their weapons were all killed, and the villagers could not survive. Therefore, Rodney has his own judgment standard. He thinks that Victor's goal is achievable, and Victor's approach is not wrong, so he follows Victor. The same is true of what is currently happening. If Sandy is spared, more people will only be killed. Run separately. It's safe to run to the seaside. A group of Murlocs ran desperately. Behind them, Marine is chasing them. Some Marines stop and shoot while running. Bullets whizzed by. Some unlucky Murlocs fell to the ground after being shot. Damn Marine. The leader of the Murloc is called Basil, and a reward of 110 million Baileys is currently offered. Because he hates humans, Basil likes villages and towns that slaughter humans. At this moment, Basil just glanced at the fallen companions and did not stay to help them. The coastline was not far away, and Basil could already see the sea. As long as they can jump into the sea, they will be temporarily out of trouble. They are Murlocs, and their diving ability is much stronger than that of humans. However, at this moment, several rows of Marines suddenly stood up in front of them. Boom. 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 Hundreds of Marines shot, and the Murlocs behind Basil couldn't dodge and were all shot. At this time, a blonde young captain was leaning against a tree, smoking a cigarette. The young man is called Felix, the rank of captain, and the same class as Aokiji. Because he agreed with Victor's philosophy, he joined the Blue Ocean Club when he was in school. Purify the sea and remove all pirates. He believes that what Victor does today will be realized all over the world. Tang Sao Wa Jung Fist. Seeing his companions fall, Basil was furious. He jumped up, and the punch he was about to throw could generate shock waves in all directions 360 degree. Tempest kick. However, the slash kicked by Felix hit Basil's chest first. Although he was hit in the chest, Basil was able to receive a reward of 110 million Baileys, and his own strength was not weak. The blow failed to kill him. Hateful. Basil looked at Felix. Felix hooked Basil. How dare a mere marine captain dare to provoke after a sneak attack? Boy, you are dead. Just as Basil was about to attack Felix, a beam of light shot through Basil's chest. Felix frowned. Sorry, he's the one I'm looking for. At this time, Kizaru came over. The current Kizaru has the rank of Commodore. Felix salutes Kizaru. Immediately, Felix turned and left. Kizaru notices the Blue Ocean Club logo on Felix's chest. Victor's people are really brave. Kizaru murmured. Which one of the pirates who can be rewarded with a reward of over 100 million Baileys is the weak one? Felix was unafraid. I don't know how Lan Hai will brainwash him. However, Kizaru knows the strength of Basil, who is a master of Murloc karate. While Felix is not weak, he is definitely not strong either. If he was severely injured by Basil, even if Felix would not die, he would be permanently disabled. Therefore, Kizaru chose to make an early shot to save Felix. Only Felix didn't appreciate it. The members of the Blue Ocean Club, apart from being single-minded, only think about getting promoted and getting rich. More are passionate young people. Influenced by Victor, they are proactive and no longer confused about the future. And young people like Rodney and Felix are on Victor's promotion list. Victor intends to train them as a backbone. At this time, Victor was in the soap bubble park, and the Marines built a high platform in the shortest time. Victor is going to execute the heinous wanted criminal here, and show the world his iron-blooded skills and his determination to uphold justice through live broadcast. After the high platform was built, Victor only left behind Connor and a very small number of people, and the rest of the Marines were sent to participate in the search mission. Today, on the Sabodi archipelago, only Soap Bubble Park has the least Marine. As the information was collected, Connor continued to report the progress of the search on the island. Rodney caught Roll, the boatman, and then shot and killed bomb expert Sandy. Sandy detonated the bomb, and nearly 100 people were killed. Felix caught Gecko, Jackson, Mountain Mouse, Roland. Ed caught Cross-Star Mayo. Jerry. After the report was over, Connor added, the whereabouts of Roger and his gang have not been found yet. Victor sat on the chair, resting his chin on one hand, and said expressionlessly, continue to search. Yes. Connor replied. Boom. There was another explosion not far away. As the search deepened, Marine began to move into residential areas. The wanted criminals hiding in the Sabodi archipelago now have only two choices. 1. Change to a more concealed and safer hiding place. 2. Choose to break out and escape from Sabodi archipelago. At this time, in a private house, several minions in black suits are nervously holding hostages. The sharp blade touched the child's smooth neck. At the same time, there are still a few minions standing by the window. They are condescending, looking out of the window vigilantly. Boss, Marine is coming. A minion by the window, reporting to the man inside. Shut up. I knew they were coming. The men drank beer and ate dinner at the hostage's house. His name is Lawrenson, a pirate from West Blue, who was also active in New World as a subordinate of Golden Lion, and currently has a reward of 181 million Baileys. It's just that after Golden Lion was caught, Lawrence had the idea of retiring. Lawrence chose to go back to the first half of the Grand Line and buy property in the Sabodi archipelago. He has a very cruel personality. When he was a pirate, he would take many hostages every time he committed a crime. If Marine dared to pursue him, they would not dare to attack him because they were afraid of hurting the hostages. Boom boom boom. Marine knocked on the door. The man of the house opened the door. Without any greeting, the Marines entered the house and started searching directly. Sir, my family members are not feeling well, please don't disturb them upstairs. The male host tried to stop him, but Marine ignored him at all. When Marine opened the attic door, there was a bang of a gunshot. Marine was shot through between the eyebrows. Lawrence took the gun and said to the minions, "Take the hostages and get out of here." The gunshots in the houses attracted the surrounding Marines. Eric, Kennard, Rodney and others quickly surrounded them. The two sides fought in the alley. "Boss, there is no Marine in Soap Bubble Park." At this time, a minion reported to Lawrence. "Go to Soap Bubble Park." After Lawrence finished speaking, some cadres were left to hold Marine back, while he led a few people to the Soap Bubble Park. As first said, Marine was not found in Soap Bubble Park. Lawrence, however, did not relax. On the contrary, Lawrence was more disturbed. "It's so quiet. Soap Bubble Park is so quiet and scary." At this moment, Lawrence heard footsteps. Lawrence reacted quickly. He turned around immediately. The muzzle of the gun in his hand, with the swing of his arm, did not aim at all. Boom. The bullet was fired at the person who came. Ding. The gunfire reflected on the blade, reflecting a cold light, which split the bullet into two pieces. The sparks from the muzzle and the reflection from the blade made the two of them see each other clearly. Although they don't know each other, it can be confirmed that neither of them is Marine. Now is not the time to fight. A man wielding a katana sword with a skull band around his head. "I think so too." Lawrence put away his gun. "Let's join forces." Suddenly, another man came over. "Only by joining hands can we leave here." Their situation is similar, because the Marine raided the residential area, they had to escape from the hiding place, and, coincidentally, they came to Soap Bubble Park. Just a dark patch of Soap Bubble Park. If you want to join forces, count me in. At this time, another figure stepped out from behind the tree. There are many big trees in Soap Bubble Park. After leaving the hiding place, they all chose this place by coincidence. When Lawrence took out his cigarette and lit the lighter, he could clearly see the faces of several people. Sharp. Zachary. Gore. Lawrence saw the faces of the men and recognized each other's identities. The double knife Sharp was once offered a reward of 456 million Baileys. After failing to challenge Whitebeard, he lost his right hand and has disappeared from the sea for 3 years. Zachary was offered a reward of 320 million Baileys, encountered Golden Lion, and was killed by Golden Lion because he refused Golden Lion's invitation. After he survived by chance, he chose to retire. Al Gore, who was offered a reward of 370 million Baileys, left New World 5 years ago after being defeated by Roger. "If we join forces, maybe we can do a big job." Lawrence looked at the three of them, and suddenly felt a little more confident in his heart. However, at this moment, the streetlights in Soap Bubble Park suddenly turned on. The sky was dark, and the dark clouds made it very depressing. After the streetlights came on, instead of feeling relaxed, everyone felt a little more uneasy. Lawrence, Sharp, Zachary, and Gore looked at each other. They realized that Soap Bubble Park is a trap. At this time, a light suddenly projected from a distance, shining on the high platform ahead. There is a chair on the high platform, and Victor is sitting on the chair. Under the spotlight, Victor is expressionless, smoking a cigarette and looking down. At this time, the people who were driven to Soap Bubble Park were not only the four of Lawrence, but many people were still hiding behind the trees. They noticed the direction of the spotlight and saw Victor's face clearly. They were all thumping in their hearts, secretly thinking something was wrong. They know how strong Marine Admiral is. Therefore, they dare not take Victor lightly. At this time, Victor said calmly, "Surrender, you are surrounded by me." Meanwhile, in the square of the Saboti archipelago, 3 large screens light up. On the screen, Victor's face appeared. In the distance, Connor was broadcasting live. Victor's live show begins. Lawrence clenched the 2 guns in his hand, gritted his teeth, and said solemnly, "It really is a trap." Although only Victor was around, Lawrence witnessed the battle between Victor and Golden Lion. Lawrence knew how strong Victor was. Like a god, invincible. Sharp said nothing, just drew the knife with his left hand. He used to be a two-handed swordsman, but now he only has one hand left. However, Sharp thought he could still fight. Zachary clenched his fists and said coldly, "If caught, I will be sent to impel down for a lifetime. I don't want to die in prison." Gore, armed with a naginata, stared at Victor. "Fight him." In addition to the 4 people, dozens of people appeared one after another in Soap Bubble Park. These people are all wanted criminals with a reward of over 100 million. Some of them even dominate one side. They thought they could hide in the Sabodi archipelago for the elderly, but they didn't expect Marine to hunt them down at any cost. "It seems that you have already made a choice," Victor said calmly. "If that's the case, then accept justice." After speaking, Victor stood up. "Call out." Then, he took a step and disappeared in front of everyone with a razor. The moment Victor disappeared, the high platform was overwhelmed and collapsed directly. Up there, the observation hockey of Lawrence et al. Are locked on Victor. At this moment, Victor transforms into a titan in the air. The titan, which was 30 meters high, emitted a dazzling golden light. Then, Titan punched downwards. The shock wave blasted by the fist, the moment it hit the ground, shone golden light in all directions. The dark clouds in the sky were dispersed by the golden light, and the earth was bright again. When this jaw-dropping scene happened, Sharp, Gore, Zachary, Lawrence and others had no time to marvel. Because each of them has to bear the shockwave of terror. The turf and soil were instantly separated. Boom, boom, boom. Sharp, Gore, Zachary, Lawrence and others were all sent flying. Some people crashed into the trunk of a thick mangrove tree, and the trunk was smashed.
Some people rolled continuously in the air, and finally fell to the ground, rolled for a while, and then stopped.
Some old and weak were directly knocked unconscious by a single punch. Even those with relatively strong bones still feel that their internal organs are about to be shattered. Victor did not continue to attack, but maintained the posture of punching the ground. This is purely just a pose to enhance the live broadcast effect. After dozens of seconds of silence, Victor resumed his standing posture. "Jointly kill him. Otherwise, we will all die here," Lawrence reminded loudly. In fact, there is no need for Lawrence to remind. Sharp and others know that Victor is terrible. As expected of someone who can catch the golden lion. This strength is really terrifying. Giant shark slash. At this time, Gore rushed towards Victor, and he ran at the fastest speed. When he was 100 meters away from Victor, he jumped up, and at the same time, he held the handle of the naginata with both hands, and was about to strike Victor. However, Victor took a step. Boom. The lawn was easily trampled by Victor. Immediately afterwards, Victor appeared in front of Gore. Before Gore could react, Victor's fist hit Gore directly. Boom. The punch hit Gore's body with precision. The sound of the sonic boom from the boxing force made everyone's eardrums go numb. However, Gore was the worst. After being hit by a heavy punch, his body flew thousands of meters away. Accompanied by the loud rumbling noise, Gore barely stopped after collapsing dozens of houses in succession. However, Gore's current situation can only be described as miserable. All the bones in his body were smashed, and blood was oozing from the eyes, nostrils, mouth, ears, and all the pores of his skin. As Lawrence's face froze, Victor raised his fist and punched again. The golden light is dazzling. Then, a group of people were blown away again. Some screamed and fell to the ground. Inside Marineford Fort, the Marines who stayed behind were all stunned. They only heard that Victor was very strong, but they had never seen it in actual combat. What I have seen with my own eyes can only be described with my heart. Sora was also watching the live broadcast. Crane was also shocked, saying, "This kid really has Garp's deterrent power." Yeah. Sora didn't deny it, just continued to watch. Aurora slash. At this time, Sharp gritted his teeth and stood up, rushing towards Victor, and then, his slash attacked Victor from the front. Victor didn't even dodge, he stood where he was, with armament hockey covering his arms. Sharp wrapped around armament hockey's knife and slashed firmly into Victor's right hand. However, nothing worked. Sharp's attack was unable to break through Victor's defense. In Sharp's astonishment, Victor raised his hand and slapped Sharp hard on his right hand like a fly. Victor shook his hand, shaking the bloodline off his hand. The monster. In just a moment, Sharp was killed and Gore was killed. All are instant kills. Run. There is no possibility of winning. Lawrence and the others turned to flee. Victor had broken their resolve to fight to the death. However, Victor didn't want to give them a chance to escape. Victor jumped up, and while he was high in the air, he punched down again. Boom. The golden giant fist fell. Accompanied by the dazzling golden light, the huge red tree was annihilated under the force of the fist. Lawrence couldn't dodge in time, and his internal organs were shattered by the fist wave. As Victor puts it, it's not a fight at all, it's a sanction. In 3 days, a total of 26,542 people were arrested in Sabodi Archipelago, and 1,689 people were executed on the spot. Of those arrested, how many were innocent? This needs to be judged by Eni's lobby. Victor doesn't care about the result, he only cares about the process. This time, Victor's performance was brilliant. The names of Victor and Blue Ocean Club will impress people. They are a group of Marines determined to destroy the pirates. Moreover, Lan Heiwi will never compromise with evil. Marineford, Naval Headquarters. Victor walked into the empty office. Kong said to Victor, "Many people complained about you. Many businesses on the Sabodi Archipelago are related to powerful people. Fortunately, Victor offended all these big shots." Victor's face was expressionless. Kong smoked his cigar and said, "What are you going to do next? Continue hunting for the Fishmen Island?" Victor replied, "If there is information that Roger is on the Fishmen Island, then I will do so." After Kong heard the words, he didn't doubt Victor's words, so Kong continued to ask, "Where do you think Roger will be?" Victor replied, "Probably still in the Sabodi Archipelago." Kong thought for a while, and said, "You go to work first." Victor turned and left. Victor returned to the office, with today's newspaper on his desk. A photo of Victor at Soap Bubble Park appeared in the newspaper. There is also a picture of Victor executing the wanted criminals hiding on the island like a god after transforming into a titan. These photos were taken by Connor and submitted to the newspaper for publication. Victor smiled contentedly. His current goal is to become the leader of Marine. There are 2 obstacles standing in his way. One is Garp and the other is Sengoku. Victor needs to get past them. As for people like Akainu, Kizaru, and Aokiji, Victor didn't think they were capable of competing with him. However, it is not easy to surpass Garp and Sengoku. Tuk tuk. At this time, there was a knock on the door. "Come in," Victor said. "Report." Rodney walked in. Victor smoked a cigarette, looked at Rodney, and said, "Your complaint letters are so thick." When speaking, Victor also gestured with his hand. Rodney listened expressionlessly. "However, I appreciate you." Victor smiled slightly. "I'm going to set up a task force named S's, and you will be the commander of the Special Operations Team, with the rank of Commodore." "Yes." Rodney replied. "Okay, you go out." Victor said to Rodney. Rodney was about to turn to leave when Victor's voice came from behind him. "Your big brother is a hero, but he makes irrational decisions." Rodney's body trembled, and he was about to step forward with his right foot. After a second pause, he stepped out and left Victor's office. Outside the office, dozens of young people are waiting. Among them was Felix. They are all members of the Blue Ocean Club. They all performed well in the hunt for the Sabodi Archipelago. So they lined up, waiting to meet Victor. Felix watched Rodney leave, and Connor arranged for another colonel to enter the office. After the colonel went in, after a while, he came out with a face full of excitement. "Sonny?" asked the colonel's companion. "I'm about to be transferred to the SS task force, and now I'm the district captain of the G2 branch, with the rank of Commodore." Sonny said excitedly, "SS? What's that?" None of the young officers outside the office knew. Lord Victor's newly established troops are commanded by Lord Victor himself. Sonny explained. "It feels great. We can go in too, probably." Just when the young officers were getting excited, Connor arranged for others to go in. Like Sunny, almost all the officers who saw Victor were promoted. Moreover, without exception, they were all transferred to the SS unit. Some became the captain of the assault brigade, and some became the squadron leader. Finally, it was Felix's turn. Felix enters the office and salutes Victor. Victor said, "You were transferred to the Special Operations Team as a squadron leader, with the rank of major." Yes. Felix was not so excited, because all the people who were called into the office were promoted. Victor said, "You cultivated very hard, and you fought bravely." Felix and Kebi are of the same type. They both belong to the type with average physical talent but hard to endure hardships. During the military school, Victor saw Felix practicing with scars all over his body. Therefore, Victor not only gave Felix more guidance, but also gave him more care. However, innate talent will limit your growth. Victor took out a box from under the table as he spoke. Inside the chest is a devil fruit. This devil fruit is a loot captured from the Sabodi archipelago. Although it is a relatively common zone devil fruit can make up for your lack of body. Especially it is especially suitable for you. Victor opened the box and threw the devil fruit to Felix. Felix instinctively reached out and caught devil fruit. This is a zone cat fruit, a lynx form. The body is thick and strong. The tail is extremely short. The head is usually less than 1/4 of the body length, and the limbs are thick, long and vigorous. It can live alone in an area of several hectares for several days without moving, and it can also run for more than 10 kilometers without stopping. Good at climbing and swimming, with strong hunger resistance. At the same time, hearing and vision are developed. "Okay, eat it," Victor said. Hearing this, Felix took a bite of the rubbery devil fruit in front of him. He frowned when he took the first bite. However, when he ate it, he could feel the change. "Thank you, Senior," Felix said gratefully. "Well, let's get out," Victor said to Felix. Felix turned to leave. "Remember to write a letter to your family and tell them you've become a great man." At this time, Victor's voice sounded behind Felix. When Felix heard this, his body stiffened. Despite his family's objections, he chose to join Marine after he ran away from home. What Felix didn't expect was that Victor would care about his origin. He is obviously just a small person. Felix adjusted his mood before opening the door and leaving Victor's office. At this moment, there was a thick stack of documents on Victor's desktop. In the file, there is the identity information of the members of the Blue Ocean Club. Victor wants to set up a special task force named S's, and the members of this force must be absolutely loyal. Therefore, Victor must investigate the family background of each member. He didn't want undercover agents to sneak into his personal armed forces. The SS unit, the full name is the task force. Victor has designed a complete frame. The task force is under the direct command of Victor. Under the jurisdiction of the Staff Department, the Personnel Department, the Operation Department, the Security Department, and the Logistics Department are 5 departments. Taking Naval Headquarters as an example, set up Staff Headquarters, Personnel Headquarters, Operations Headquarters, Security Headquarters, and Logistics Department. As for the branches in various places, there will also be Staff branches, Personnel branches, Combat branches, Security branches, and Logistics branches. This is an independent unit attached to the Marine system. Of course, one bite does not make a fat man. This is why Victor assigned the members of the Blue Ocean Club to each unit. Let them suck blood in each branch of Marine, continuously absorb outstanding talents, and gradually grow the SS troops. Wow, I finally breathed the air of the sea. Kozuki Oden stood by the sea, breathing greedily. Kozuki hugged his daughter Hyori, covered his mouth and smiled lightly. Not far away, Roger and others are waiting for the arrival of the ship. Marine searched the Sabodi archipelago for 3 days, but did not find the Golden Jackson. It is not to blame that Marine is incompetent, but that Roger and others have rich hiding experience. After the appearance of the Golden Jackson, the crew began to board the ship one after another. Shaki said to Rayleigh, "The wine is already in the cabin." "Yeah." Rayleigh nodded. At this time, Roger came over, put his arm on Rayleigh's shoulder, and said with a smile, "Don't worry, we will be back soon." Shaki looked at Roger and said seriously, Victor is more dangerous than Sengoku, you better not meet him again. Ha ha ha. Roger said with a smile, don't worry, we have more important things to do, and we don't have time to entangle him. It's time to go. Jabba came over and informed Roger and others. Yeah. Roger patted Rayleigh on the shoulder, brother, I'm on board first. Roger gave Rayleigh time and opportunity to say goodbye. After Roger and others boarded the boat, only Rayleigh and Shaki were left on the shore. The two looked at each other, and Rayleigh said, I'll be back soon. Although he said the same thing as Roger, Shaki liked to hear it. I'll wait for you to come back, Shaki said to Rayleigh. Rayleigh turned and jumped aboard the Golden Jackson. Shaki watched as the Golden Jackson dived until it completely disappeared on the surface. The Golden Jackson dived 10,000 meters and arrived at the Fishmen Island after passing through the giant hole below the red line. For the Fishmen Island, Roger and his group have long been familiar with it. After all, they have crossed here many times. However, when the Golden Jackson entered the Fishmen Island, Roger felt he was being watched. For a strong person at Roger's level, his perceptual ability can only be described as pervert. There was a gleam of red in Roger's eyes. Subsequently, several people fell to the ground unconscious in the pier of the Fishmen Island. Although these people are just small players, Roger doesn't want to attract Victor. After Rayleigh and others sensed Roger's use of Conqueror's Hockey, they said, looks like we can't stay here for long. World government eyeliner is everywhere, Jabba echoed. I know, but before they come, I have to meet some friends, they are waiting for me. Roger said with a smile. He has the ability to hear the voice of all things. And when he approached the Fishmen Island, he heard their calls. Rayleigh, Jabba, Kozuki Oden and others looked at each other. Along the way, they've all seen what Roger is capable of. Sure enough, Roger and others found an information historical text stele engraved with Joey Poi's apology and a road sign historical text stele in Haiji Forest. At the same time, Mariajoy, inside Pangu City. Agents lurking in various places will report to their superiors at a fixed time period. However, it has been more than 2 hours. There is still no news of the agents on the Fishmen Island. This means one thing. They may have been killed. So, the news reached the ears of CP0 and passed it on to Victor. Victor naturally sent someone to put on a show. If he really wants to catch Roger, he can arrange in advance and carry out ambushes in the Fishmen Island, Wanokuni and other places. Marineford, Naval Headquarters, 2nd War Room. Crane Vice Admiral, Nun Vice Admiral, Boris Vice Admiral are in charge of support. Victor is mobilizing troops for the Fishmen Island. At this time, the door of the meeting room was suddenly opened. Garp walks in. Count me in, I must catch him with my own hands. Garp said to himself that he had just rushed back and went straight to the war room without stopping. He and several other vice admirals frowned. While Garp has always been like this, but now, not then and then. Victor is not Sengoku and empty. Although Victor is a descendant of Crane and others, Victor is now Admiral. Garp broke into the meeting room suddenly and interrupted Victor's arrangement. Victor's face was deadpan, he knew what Garp was like. At this time, Victor said to Garp, then let Vice Admiral Garp lead the team to the Fishmen Island. Leave it to me. Garp said confidently. Let's go. Victor said seriously. After Victor's order was issued, Garp, Crane and others stood up at the same time. At this time, Eric, Kennard, Connor, Wright and others all had dark faces. Garp and Crane walked side by side. Behind the two, there were several vice admirals with white sideburns from the headquarters, and a large number of young and middle-aged generals and officers. At this time, Crane said to Garp in a very low voice, Garp, if you are late for such meetings in the future, then don't come. Huh. Garp didn't understand. Crane said, Sora and Sengoku won't argue with you, but Victor needs prestige. Garp laughed a little embarrassed when he heard this. I understand what you mean, I was too impatient this time. It's always been like this. Crane can only describe Garp as speechless. After Garp was molded into a marine hero by the world government, relying on his own strength and prestige, he didn't take Sora and Sengoku seriously at all. Although Sora and Sengoku are both Garp's superior, they cannot mobilize Garp. Garp still does what he wants, is free, and does what he wants to do. As a Marine, Garp is a bit too much. Victor doesn't count on that. Garp said disapprovingly. Crane shook his head and said, be careful. Victor doesn't care, but what about Victor's followers? In their eyes, Victor's status is equivalent to Garp. It's like Aokiji and others worship Garp. If Victor suppresses Garp and causes trouble for Garp, then they will hate Victor too. In the same way, if Garp doesn't respect Victor, Victor's followers will hate Garp. This will cause internal conflicts in Marine. As the saying goes, there are no two suns in the sky, and there are no two masters in the people. One mountain cannot accommodate two tigers. To become the leader of Marine, Victor must cross Garp and Sengoku. And he has found a way in today's meeting. That is a contradiction, creating factional contradictions. Victor is too weak right now to compete with the dominant naval headquarters faction. However, now that Victor has the power of Admiral, he can already cultivate his own power. The sun is shining and the sea breeze is refreshing. Perhaps guided by fate, Roger's next journey went smoothly. On the Fishmen Island, Roger not only found a historical text of a road sign, but also learned from Shiarli's divination that the ancient weapon Poseidon, Princess Mermaid, will be born 10 years later. After leaving the Fishmen Island, Roger continued to search for the historical text of the signpost. Through the bug-level skill of listening to the voice of all things, Roger knew that there was a historical text of the road sign, which had been taken away by Charlotte Linlin. This means that the Roger pirates and the Big O pirates will clash. Captain, are we going to Guo? At this time, Buggy asked Roger in a panic. All crew members now know that the text of the signpost history is in the hands of Charlotte Linlin. Just as Buggy is afraid of the Golden Lion, he is also afraid of Charlotte Linlin. Because Charlotte Linlin is so brutal, is real evil. Those crazy women are tricky. If you get entangled with them, it may take a while, Rayleigh said, resting his chin. Jabba echoed. It's really troublesome. Marine is also chasing us. If we fight with them at the same time, it will be a headache. Roger laughed and said, don't worry, I have a solution. And it won't delay a lot, and there won't be a fight. Really? Rayleigh and the others looked at Roger curiously. Really? Captain. Buggy was excited and curious. Shanks is also curious about what method Roger wants to use. At this time, Roger grinned and said, as long as I sneak into the world alone and secretly print a copy. Ah. Buggy's eyes widened, his mind went blank. What kind of solution is this? Buggy was dumbfounded. If it's you, it should be fine. If there are many people, it will be easier to be discovered. Both Rayleigh and Jabba agree with Roger's plan. Roger smiled and said, however, you still need to draw their attention away. No problem. Rayleigh et al. Replied. Cake Island, Cake Castle. At this time, Charlotte Linlin was meeting with CP0 agents. It is not a very strange thing to come into contact with CP0 agents. As long as you step into the ranks of the peak powerhouse, the scenery you can see is different. For example, the world government got a lot of seastone from Wano-kuni after Kaido took control of Wano-kuni. Between the strong and the strong, more attention is paid to interests and values. CP0 to Charlotte Linlin. Roger will pass through your territory. If he dares to come, let him die here, mama. Charlotte Linlin laughed. Since you are so confident, then I will wait for your good news. After CP0 finished speaking, he got up and prepared to leave. I don't want Marines on my turf. At this time, Charlotte Linlin said. Agent CP0 paused. I will give feedback. Agent CP0 said without looking back. After the CP0 agent left, Charlotte Linlin called the eldest son Perispero. She told Perispero to ask Perispero to step up vigilance and patrol. If the Roger pirates are found, they need to report as soon as possible and follow them. The Holy Land of Mariajoy, the city of Pangu, among the powers. A CP0 wearing a dog-head mask came to the 5 elders. Victor is not fit to hunt Roger. Agent CP0 to 5 elders. What the 5 elders need is a balance between the sea and the sea. Pirates are used to protect the secrets of the New World. At the same time, they can also divert the dissatisfaction of the people of the world with the world government. Therefore, the pirates of New World cannot be eliminated. Then let him come back. Don't get used to him too much, let him understand that his power will be lost at any time. You're right. Let him stop in moderation, and don't let him run amok. Sengoku has done a good job in this area. Let Victor learn a little bit, which is also for his own good. The 5 elders have reached a consensus on the matter with Victor. They won't let Victor be too strong, and they won't let Victor directly replace Sengoku. Use power to control subordinates, and pull with them to keep them loyal and obedient. G1 Branch, War Room. In the War Room, Victor is waiting for news. Roger's group has left the Fishmen Island. Currently, both Marine and CP0 are tracking Roger's location. In the combat conference room this time, Garp and others were not seen. Garp and others have already chased Roger and his group as the vanguard. At this time, Akainu, Kizaru and others were smoking, waiting for the combat order. According to Victor's personality, this time he has transferred the elite sailors of each branch, and may want to launch another buster call. Of course, Akainu would not object. His goal is to deal with the pirates thoroughly, without any mercy. Blue blue. Blue blue. Victor picked up the phone bug's microphone. The phone bug imitated Sora's voice. Victor, you come back, Sengoku will take your job. Since it was in the war room, everyone heard the call. Is it an order from the 5 elders? Victor asked. Yes. Sora didn't deny it. Understood. Victor put the microphone down. Senior. Master Victor. What's going on here? Why is Sengoku Admiral in charge? At this time, Wright, Connor, Eric and other members of the Blue Ocean Club stood up one after another. Although they are still very young, and the highest rank among them is Commodore, they are now expressing their dissatisfaction. Akainu also frowned. With a cold face, Victor said sharply, our duty is to obey orders. Although Wright, Connor and others were angry, they could not refute. I thought I could take this opportunity to get rid of some cancerous tumors. Victor smoked a cigarette and said to himself, I hope Sengoku Admiral and Vice Admiral Garp don't leave me with regrets. Victor ends the meeting. Akainu was about to leave, but saw many young officers gathered around Victor. It's not that Akainu deliberately eavesdropped. It's just that the words, Sengoku, weakness, and compromise, appeared in the mouths of these officers. Obviously, they cannot accept Sengoku's command. It is believed that Marine, commanded by Sengoku, cannot sanction New World at all. At the same time, many young people are full of dissatisfaction with Marine's weakness, especially under the influence of Victor and the Blue Ocean Club. Kizaru was outside the meeting room, smoking a cigarette, muttering to himself. There are more and more conflicts. He did not join any party, but watched from the sidelines from the perspective of an outsider.